where was the one, nigga? You was just like 3, 2. All right, yeah.
Nobody goes 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Cut. You go 3, 2.
No, they say
Always.
3, 2, 1 when they have the clicky boy.
Yeah, you always.
But
say
you don't
3,
have
2,
the
1.
clicky boy. You have to click that button, and if you don't hit 1, then how he know to click his button?
Yeah.
His button should have been clicked before my button.
No,
it's
it
always
makes
the
it-
same time.
It's so much harder to line the audio up that way.
What are you, a rookie? We've been doing this shit for what, 12 weeks?
Reset.
Maybe no, don't reset
All right,
shit.
ready?
Are you kidding?
3, 2, 1.
I was already recording.
Did you really turn the camera off
Of
and back
course he
on?
did.
Now we're good.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Are you
Yep.
recording sound now?
I've always had
He's
it.
been recording this whole time.
I mean,
So I'm
when
gonna
we
have-
first said,
Yep. Now
So
you
I'm gonna
got an
have
even
2
harder
videos.
job.
Yeah,
Hey,
you are.
Putting you to work.
Yeah, you say you ain't got nothing else better to do.
You got
bitch.
nothing to do.
The dark souls of editing.
You guys keep. Oh, I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure an audio engineer would come in and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Just do this." And I'm like, "It'd be easy to go off the camera audio, which is what most people go off of." I'm like, "But the fans blow it the fuck out, so the audio just is like on 10 the whole time, and I can't line up the waves at all." So
Must be hard with one eye to line up waves.
I have 2 eyes.
I've never seen a pirate barber, so I guess it is probably.
Damn, I really wish that I had a barber that had a patch. I don't know why, but I just feel like they'd do a better job. Like they have to focus extra because they have one eye.
But their depth perception will be off.
No, it'd be immaculate. Like, can you imagine? Being
Did
at a
you
barber
guys
shop?
know? Fun fact: why pirates have patches?
Yeah, but it's unproven. It's just the
They
most
did it-
generally accepted.
They did
concept.
it on MythBusters.
Yeah, right.
So
the
I
thing
accept
works,
it.
but yeah, right. But they
Well, then you already know. So fuck it.
okay.
I mean,
No,
I
but
don't,
I
go
don't know.
ahead.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
and there's listeners that probably don't
Yeah,
know.
well,
I don't
why-
care.
why?
Fuck it. Fuck them.
Think?
Ooh,
Why?
I know, but I
Do
don't
they do
know
it?
if I
Do they
know.
do it so that they keep snacks under their eye patch?
Exactly right.
Okay. all right.
wow.
Wow.
That's
Under, they called him Blackbeard because he had a Blackbeard, but also an eye patch with snacks. I don't know why or where I was going with that one.
Damn, that's crazy.
Is that why?
It is why, yeah, exactly why.
Okay. All right.
He's so fucking mad. I love it.
Instead of you just being like, nah, just so I can segue into a fun fact. I mean, technically,
Why would you ask
it's
me that
never
question?
been.
Why
I was
would you
asking
say-
the room the
Nah,
question.
why would you say, hey, do you know? Yes, of course I know. I know all things.
Oh, that is
You
true.
should've
You
said,
want to be the
"Hey,
most
everybody-"
well-rounded.
You should say everybody beside D-Mark. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to shut up.
That's how
Lesson learned.
I'm going to preface that every time from now on.
Yeah.
So what do we do when you don't know? We just assume you do know, and then you'll know when we're done. So
oh,
then
yeah.
you'll actually
why
know.
do you think I learn things? I'm like, yeah, I know, but why don't you tell me?
I
just
don't
make
have to
sure
tell
I'm
you.
right?
I know, but I don't have to show you or
Right.
prove to you.
Yeah, I was like, but why don't you say it out loud? Because then maybe because I want to know if I'm thinking the same thing you thinking.
You were actually this time. It's a
Yeah.
snack patch.
Now you'll never know if I
Snack
didn't know
pack.
or not.
Yeah, but I don't care. I don't think.
That's where they got the idea. Have you ever had a pudding and you have to take the little thing off the top? It's
Yeah.
a representative of the old eye patches. They used to keep.
The pirates just had goop in their eye.
They used to take one eye out and fill it with pudding for the long journey.
I want to throw up a little bit because it was probably more like maggoty cheese. And they're like, ooh, it's so soupy. And then that's how pudding came around.
Nope. It was Danimals.
That was the Danimals is yogurt. Snack pack is pudding. What's the difference between pudding and yogurt? No, I mean, I know I can taste the difference.
But you mean
And I know-
conceptually? Like,
and
what
I know
defines
yogurt.
pudding?
How do you make pudding?
I think if you put fruit in, it's not pudding anymore. Do they have strawberry pudding?
Yeah. Pudding comes out of a packet,
Yeah, they have
and then
everything pudding.
you put water in it and you
So
stir
what
it
is
up.
the difference between pudding and yogurt?
Yogurt is sour milk dairy.
So
Right.
What is, pudding
Is it
because it's a powder?
fermented? Is it fermented or something?
Well, it's just
Well,
like
you can't
cheese.
get powdered yogurt, so I guess that's probably the difference.
You can get powdered
powdered
milk,
milk,
so you
yeah,
should be able to get
powdered
powdered
mix.
yogurt.
Oh man, what
how you
is the
make the
difference
pudding.
between?
Is
Can you-
pudding even dairy?
Yeah.
It's that yogurt is fermented food and pudding has not been
Hey.
fermented.
Yeah, there you go.
So
See?
what is pudding? Like-
Unfermented
Oh,
yogurt.
hold on.
I
Time
just
out.
know it comes out in a
Also,
powder.
pudding can mean different things, and
No, not British. We don't want their fucking beans for pudding. We want American. What is the
right pudding.
the pudding that
You
a
ever had
pudding pop?
corn? You ever had corn pudding?
Dude, you know what I'm talking about? Like Bill Cosby's pudding pop. Like
What?
what is that?
The old,
It's his penis. What are you talking about?
the old night.
Oh,
No, what? Oh man.
I'm gonna give him the
Brody
pudding
intro.
pop.
You're on with Maui,
No relation to the trademark whatsoever.
D-Mark,
I don't believe in none of this.
and X.
Which, by the way, Dick Wolf is the best name ever.
And this is When Awesome Collides.
And we're back. We're off to a good start.
I still want to know. I want to know what pudding actually is, though. I'm unwilling.
Just told you.
Bill Cosby's dick is what we said.
Wow. But you asked for specifically for Bill Cosby's pudding pop.
No, I was that is I
What you
did.
said. Yeah.
Yeah.
According to this, a pudding in general is a dessert with a creamy consistency.
So yogurt.
But yogurt has to be fermented.
Oh, okay.
So yogurt
So-
is fermented pudding.
I just
Not
said
all
that.
pudding
I
is
just said
not all pudding is yogurt.
But
all yogurt is pudding.
Yeah.
Boom.
SAT prep for
Okay,
everybody out
okay.
there listening.
Hey.
That was a thinker, much like today's topic. Was that a really good? Was that an excellent segue?
Nope.
No.
Maui.
That wasn't even like mediocre.
Show him. Take over. Show him how to go.
No, I really.
No, I
was-
got nothing. Have something ever been so bad you're just like speechless?
Yes.
That's me right now.
Just right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was trying to pass it to
Right.
you.
Yeah. I got nothing. I think you let him roll. So let him do his thing.
I thought it was a really good segue.
Mm,
Okay, we'll segue it in. Then you on a segue right through the mall. Let's go.
yeah. Because we got nothing.
You ever seen those motherfuckers go down the escalator on a Segway?
What? No.
what?
What?
The
no.
Segways are wide enough to go down the escalator so that they can actually, if they're trying to apprehend somebody, they can quickly get down the escalator.
That's
Hmm.
my greatest fear. My greatest fear. I can't.
Getting
Oh.
chased by a mall cop in a Segway.
no heights. So, but like also,
Ah.
like if you're going down an escalator on something that's already unstable, I get that they're stable, whatever, but like that won't stop me from falling over the sides.
Mm,
I have a really big problem with escalators.
How are you going to
fundamentally.
fall over? You'd fall forward or back before you fell over the side.
Are you sure?
They don't go down the railing. They go in, but
They're not grinding. What are you talking about?
they're not. They're
You said they're just wide enough to grind on the rail.
no, they're wide enough so like how when you're on an escalator, you have the two sides next to you with like the windows and then the black rail on top that moves with you. The
Right.
wheels fit up against the windows.
No,
They
said-
don't fit on top. No, they're not jumping up on top of the rails of the escalator and then riding it down. The whole point is that they're not being stopped by the momentum of the escalator
Right.
going.
What would be faster, riding down the escalator itself, or riding the side rails?
Riding the side rails.
I rest my case. So I don't want to take the chance.
How did they get up there in your world, though? How did they actually get on top of the rails in your world?
Have you ever seen a scootering?
I have, but Segways are really heavy.
Have you ever seen a mall cop? They're pretty beefy.
No, they're fat.
Beefy. 2020.
Thick boy.
Chef
boy.
Boyardee,
Yeah, thick boy season.
not like bodybuilder. Anyway, the thinker I was talking about was we're going to discuss the movie Tenet from Christopher Nolan, and it was a thinker.
Wow.
It was a movie that made you think while you watched it, the same way as the SAT yogurt question. That was why I made the connection.
This is the worst intro of all time.
I actually enjoyed it. I've grown to
What?
appreciate his lack of it's like have you ever seen like a school play, like a kid's school play, and you're like, this is garbage, like this is bad, but
Yeah.
you're like,
For
what?
four
They
score
doing,
and
they doing their best, like, hey, that tree, he taking a piss in his costume, but
Yeah.
he doing his best tree.
Well, I don't.
so I'm the kid with no lines who pissed himself.
Yes. That's the exact description of your
I hate sitting here watching Jamie type on my laptop because I don't know what he's typing until I get on my phone the next day
It's just
and
buttholes.
realize that the Google search is all over my phone.
You're welcome.
What are you looking up?
Doing my job.
Huh. Okay. Anyway, so Tenet, Christopher Nolan movie, just came out. Only made $10 million its first week at the box office.
That's a bummer.
That is a bummer because it was
Bummer.
well,
It's
that's
a-
because I think
I
COVID.
get COVID, but
Bummer.
because didn't New Mutants make more than that?
No,
No,
it's
in
done.
two-
It's done 20 million, but
No, I said in its first weekend it did 10. It's been out 2 weeks.
well,
as
it
of
was
this
out,
hasn't been
recording.
it was
out 2
out. It
weeks.
was out before, like overseas, for like a week before it got here.
Was it really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
but it's by the Monday after it had.
What's it
released,
done right now?
It made 20 mil.
Because when we did New Mutants, it was about the exact same amount of time when we recorded from New Mutants to Tenet. Which is a bummer because it was a really fucking good movie. And I'm going to do this real quick because we have been told recently that
150.
is it 150 million?
150 million?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Wow, good for
domestically?
it.
And that was
No, we're
That
not
was
care. We
4
don't care
days
about
ago.
domestic. We care
No,
about
that's what
total gross.
No, that's what we looked at for New Mutants.
Oh,
We looked at domestic. We didn't look at
well, New Mutants
global.
didn't have a global release yet, did it?
Yeah,
no
it did.
New Mutants came out. I think
Globally?
Yeah,
It came out globally.
before it came here.
Yeah, so it was
We got-
globally. We
a lot
looked
of stuff
domestic.
went out.
Yeah, so we
first
looked
before it
at
got
it,
here
right,
because
so
our
we-
theaters have been closed.
Yeah, so we looked at so that was the global
So I
numbers.
wanna
Those total
look-
numbers.
no.
So 150, good shit.
New Mutants was domestic, not global.
It says Tenet opened to 20 million at U.S. box office.
Perfect.
Okay,
Okay,
it
so
made
I
a
was wrong.
ton overseas. Okay,
So I read, well, yeah, because they're allowed to go outside. We've been told we're really long-winded in our summaries, and we don't want to do that because we actually want to talk about the movie because it was a great movie. If you haven't seen Tenet, it's a movie about time travel.
I wouldn't really. I wouldn't call it time travel.
Okay.
Reversing the flow of time. I guess you are technically traveling through time at all times.
It
whether
looks
forward
like
or
things
backward.
move backwards when you watch the trailer,
Yeah.
and then you figure out it's time traveling. If you haven't watched the movie, we're about to spoil the ever-loving fuck out of it. I'm not spending an hour of my time talking about how the movie went. If you're listening, you've either seen it or you don't give a fuck and you just want to hear us talk. So that was Tenet. It's about backwards moving things and time travel and Christopher Nolan. It's Inception with a black protagonist.
Blackception. Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
According to the description that Nolan gives, it's about time inversion or time reversal, but it's not time travel.
That's what I said. It's not time travel.
Okay, well, Christopher
not.
Nolan is apparently smarter than I am because he made that movie. And also, I was just giving a quick synopsis, summary.
No,
and
a
technically,
summary.
but it's not accurate.
technically,
so
we're also
correcting you.
time travelers. We're traveling through time right now,
Yeah,
just
the
forward.
Right way, yeah, fair.
So any movie's about time travel. If time
Technically,
progresses,
sure.
if it progresses, it's time travel. So I'm not wrong.
It's X's superpower where he just puts his point into a corner where it's kind of sort of right, so he
So,
can't admit that he's wrong.
I talked with my dad about that today because he said he went to go pick up dinner, and I'm like, you're gonna get me a steak, and he goes, I'm not waiting on a steak. What do you want? And so he ended up going to Subway. I got a steak and cheese wrap, and I go, see, I told you you'd wait on a steak, and he goes, well, you have steak, but I would argue that it's not a steak, and I go, that's an important distinction. I think you win this one. So I think that I just live my life in technicalities, and I like winning.
That's fair, bro.
technicalities.
I mean, I get it. Everybody needs a dub. Everybody needs
That's
a
the
dub.
only way I'm gonna. I'm better than no one at anything. So
Except
if the
for
only,
wearing people down.
So-
and
so if I'm gonna win an argument, it literally just has to be because somebody didn't use the right words and they basically lost it themselves. You could have had the entire game, but you said one word wrong, and I'm like, well, technically, and then I'm at least not the loser. We can end on a draw or a dub for me.
Honestly, I respect that. Like if I see a loss coming, I'm gonna spend. If we start an argument and 2 seconds in I realize I'm wrong, we're gonna be arguing for 40 more minutes until I work my way out of that corner. So I get it. I'm like, by the end, I'm like, I don't know how we got all these papayas, and I walk away. You're like, what? What were we arguing about? I was like, shit, there must have been a misunderstanding, and I just leave and never come back and burn the house down. That's fair.
Okay, so now that we decided this movie is about time travel, 100% about time travel. Maui, do you want to take it away now? I'm gonna
go last.
Why are you going last?
Yeah, I'm the cleanup.
Yeah, last week. That's not. Well, I mean, yeah, but like we're 2 outs, I guess. Yeah. So go ahead, start us off.
I'm the first out.
Yeah, because we want to get the
You're right.
bullshit.
You
out
got it
of the way.
right. You got to. We know you gonna strike out.
I
That's
can't start anything. I don't know how to do anything but go off of somebody else.
All right. So Tenet.
Okay.
I got it. So Tenet, obviously, like most Nolan movies. Also, I'm gonna start this out with actually a negative. I have a really big problem with Nolan movies because the more I think about the movie after I leave the movie, the more frustratingly nonsense it becomes. So I'm gonna spoil this really early and say this was a great movie. It's hard to describe a movie making you so angry by how convoluted the story is, but so damn pleased about everything else that happened in the movie. Our main protagonist, who you never learn his name, and I think that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be like he
Oh,
yeah,
I
you never
didn't
learn his
even
name.
realize that.
No, like because I like halfway through the movie, I was like, I have no idea who this guy is, and I'm like, well, that's cool. It helped me figure out the twist pretty early because like by leaving him nameless, he is the organization,
He's
and
Tenet.
he is Tenet. If you think about, I mean, not really, but the concept of Tenet, he is that, and that's why they left him nameless. As far as I'm going to assume, he basically he's on a mission to what happened at the beginning? Help me out, Maui.
In the beginning, he actually was on some mission to try to help like the opera house, and then all of a sudden he was like, "Hey, look, he's had like a secret code that he was talking about the person that he was there to rescue. But they weren't, at least to me, it wasn't necessarily clear like what the fuck was going on in the beginning. Just shit was just happening from the very beginning.
It was a test.
well,
He's highlighting the problem, and I'm actually was setting him up
Right.
with. Continue.
yeah. So it just he's just, hey, there's this mission, and then they end up helping out. I just want to say like Russian police or anti-terror squad. I don't know what you want to call them. And then all of a sudden, like, hey, they're dispatching to help out with a potential terrorist situation, is what I would like to just call it, just for generalities. And then he was like, all right, so we're coming. I'm assuming to save that one person. I'm assuming they were in their own separate mission. Then they find the guy, give a secret code to make sure that he's identified as the right person. Then after that, he actually runs out. He gets made by a few people a few different times, actually. And as he was leaving, he noticed like there was a shot on the ground, and he was like, I don't know, that's weird. So that's a callback to what we'll find out later. And then all of a sudden he gets kidnapped because he got into the wrong fucking van with some dude. I don't even know who the fucking guy was either. And then all of a sudden he's like getting interrogated, and then he ended up trying to commit suicide. But apparently he was just in a medically induced coma for a really long time. And then we get the rundown about Tenet.
Oh yeah, and that's actually going to highlight my major problem with this movie. I know it's super weird to start this off with a negative for such a for a movie I liked a ton, but it does a really, really obnoxious job of just going like of just bullying you into accepting the next part of the story. Like it's like having a child tell you a story, and you're like this story doesn't make any fucking sense, and you're like, but what? So who is that guy? And say, oh, it's my friend John. Okay. But his name was Alan 5 seconds ago. Well, yeah, it's Alan. Okay, fuck it. There's no point in me asking you specifics because they're not going to connect. You're a child. You're telling me a story. I'm going to accept the ride. And that's what this movie did a really bad job of. They were just like, hey, here's a painting. Here's another fake painting. Take it to this girl so you can get an audience with the guy. Why would that work? In what world does that? It sounds like a MacGuffin, like where you're like, here, we don't have a good reason for you to meet this guy. Let's invent a middleman, and then the interaction between you and a middleman won't even make any sense.
Right.
Like it does that.
Like that.
Sure, it's great to watch, but if you sit there and think about it for any longer than a second, you're like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would that? Why would her knowing that he had a fake painting, this guy bringing her another painting that might be real, creating a story from a guy that he obviously didn't meet, give her any incentive for her to think that him meeting old boy Sater would work at all. It would be like somebody coming to your store with counterfeit, like, hey, here's counterfeit money. Like, oh, where'd you get this? And it's like, well, I'll show you, but you got to let me in the back room. I'm like, what? Why? Why would I let you in the back room because you brought me fake money? It doesn't make any sense.
But she.
Go ahead. No, justify it. You help me.
I'm not necessarily justifying it. I look at it from a standpoint of nobody could get close to this guy because they knew he was the issue, and she had that secret where she defrauded her husband. So by him coming in and basically saying, "Hey, I've got this painting that we both know is a fake, and I got it from the same dude that you did this for the other
That
time,"
she knows he couldn't have gotten it from.
But that's not the point. That's basically a sly way. He was bullshitting the whole time, right? Like for some reason, I just feel like Christopher Nolan must have fucked or gotten fucked or something by Michael Caine, who looks like he has Parkinson's now with all that shaking that he did in the movie, but it doesn't. I don't know. Yeah, but the scene with Michael Caine where he's like, "Can't be Brooks Brothers and you expect to be a billionaire," and on all that shit.
Are you talking about Alfred?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alfred.
Bro, I hated the fact that he was obviously eating and trying to deliver his line.
No,
'Cause, like,
they
his
were giving
dentures-
they were giving a reason for the fact that he's old and shaky. There's no other reason that they would have allowed him to actually eat other than the fact that Michael Caine is going to die tomorrow, which, oh my God, if he dies,
Yeesh, bud.
yeesh.
Yeesh.
Last time we did this, somebody
Oof, last time we
somebody
had to
did
edit
it-
out an
somebody-
entire part.
Somebody didn't make it, and I had to edit out an entire
If you
part.
would like to hear the part that was edited out, there will be the first thing we put on OnlyFans because it is hilarious, but we could not use it.
We actually I cut out about 2 minutes of great jokes, guys. You don't understand. But anyway, Michael Caine,
Some
please
of my best work.
please don't. It was. I can't even. I was so happy. Hold on. So
Does
Alfred,
does he actually have Parkinson's, or are you just assuming?
I
he's
was
just assuming.
I was
Okay.
making fun of the fact that he was shaky the whole
Parkinson's?
scene.
Whoa.
Got it.
Yeesh.
Yeah, I don't know anybody with Parkinson's, and if I do, they probably can't swing on me. So here's the thing.
Was that an actual, like, Ali?
Oh, that's even
Joke.
better.
It was an Ali joke. It was the fact that
That's what I say. He
can't
said.
really.
He said
yeah,
swing.
I know it was a layer cake joke there.
Like this movie.
Yeah, but he was talking to Alfred, and the whole time he was saying, "Hey, you're bullshitting your way through this. You're bullshitting your way through this. I can tell, but we're on the same side." So the whole point was he would just get enough information to be somewhere just enough to get to the actual point.
Right.
So it would have been impossible to meet. It would have been impossible to meet the person that he needed to meet without some sort of leverage on that person. So she knows that he knew about the defraud situation.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
No.
Yes, she did, because they even talk about it in that
Right.
spot right there.
But he had
Not until
almost
after the,
right,
meeting
and
that
he
they
almost
had.
had almost no specific. So he went into that with almost no information. She realized halfway through he had no information.
But then when
on
she
he
called him
spoke.
on it, he's like, "That's not the point. Here's the point."
And the point that he gave didn't make any sense.
He said,
He said,
"I
"If
know
you
that
meet
the."
me-"
He said the thing I know is that you gave your husband a fake painting.
Okay.
He said that, and then that's when
Cool,
she
cool.
started to give all
Right.
the information.
Why? Why was the
Because it's
why
like
is there
one of those-
always an expedit in any Nolan movie? You remember Batman? He was like, "Ah, yeah, I finally got out of that pit. How'd you get back to Gotham?" It's like, nope, just be fine with it, and that's fine. Like if you, it's
Because
fine.
he made it out of the pit.
Sure, and that's what I'm saying. That's fine. At the end of the day, if you can watch a movie and someone's like, "Hey, where'd you get that? Where'd you get the magical sword?" "Oh, it was in the tomb." "Where'd you find the tomb?" That guy told me." "Oh, well, how'd you find that guy?" "You told me about the guy." Okay, sure. If you have to have if there's like if
How do you want the perfect thing to go? Because you hate, hold on, you constantly talk about how you hate things that are purposefully made to progress a story. But there's almost no story out there that can progress on its own without elements to help
and
push it
do I hate
forward.
every story? No. It's what I'm saying is the big problem in this movie is that they have I'm fine with the reason being dumb for something if you give me the reason. At least, like I was talking, we were at the bar the other day talking.
I felt like
and then
they
I was
did,
like,
though, is
well,
what
this isn't time. Well, hold on. So one of the things they say in the movie is that when you go backward in time, you have to live. You have to go through time in real time backward, right? You would still age, okay? You wouldn't age backward, maybe. They never established that. But let's say, for instance, if you wanted to get to last Tuesday, you'd have to go back now. You'd have to invert now and wait 7 days or 5 days until you got back to Tuesday. You couldn't invert end Tuesday. Okay? So if where you're trying to get is 20 years in the past, you'd have to invert now and wait 20 years till you get there. You would age during that time, whether forward or backward. They don't care at all about that aspect. Like if he meets old boy in the future, right? So he in the future meets that guy to have him go back in time.
No, he meets him in the past.
No, he meets him in the future. And remember he said, this is the end of our friendship. I'll meet you later in the beginning. So later on, the guy meets that guy, has him go back to start all this stuff. It would happen in real time. So either he's getting younger or older. That's fine. But so many parts of that don't make any sense because if you want to meet, again, hold on. We could get into, it's just going to be a whole thing about me bashing the era of
that's fair because I actually didn't think about that because the guy has cancer. So if he inverted himself, wouldn't he be moving away from when
from
he
the
had
cancer, right? So remember, they get shot, and the reason why the inverted bullets do so much damage is because they're going backward in time. The wound gets worse. That's why you have to go in reverse so you can heal.
I thought it was radiation.
No,
no, they said radiation in the movie.
Oh, good. That's better. That's better.
Yeah,
Than,
they
except
said-
for, but hold on.
they
The only thing.
said
So
the
then why did when they
inverse
went? So then
radiation-
why did they go back in time and she was fine?
No,
that
they
was
said
one of
the
my
only
biggest questions.
no, they said the
No,
only way
right,
to heal her
yeah.
was to be in the
Inverted
inversion
timeline or
inverted
whatever.
timeline because the bullet was inverted, so the radiation wasn't going to be the thing that killed her, and she could heal and go in the opposite time. Then
So if he got, well, okay. So that's a
Also,
little
I got
bit
a
better.
question
Still
real
bad,
quick, though.
but
What do they call it when like you as the viewer or the reader know something that the
omniscient.
cast
It's omniscient narrator.
is that what it is?
Yeah, because like what they call.
So wouldn't that be the answer to like a lot of?
Sure, but
this
no.
stuff?
So yes and no. So
Or I thought it was
if you're
something
going to
irony.
start leaving, if we're going to be omniscient, that's fine. If you're going to have someone be omniscient but leave out key points, then it's a way for you to write the movie without having to explain. You're like, well, if it would be like if we were in a board meeting and then you pitch this idea to me. I'm like, oh, cool. How did they get there? You're like, oh, we just won't show it. We'll show it off screen. You're like, okay, that's fine. What
they
about
did a
Weir?
lot through dialogue though. Like by the end of the movie, so many things connected that it made more sense.
Okay, so old boy, so she met herself.
Can we give him a name? Anything, just so we know who we're talking about.
Call him.
You're talking about
Protagonist.
His name is the
Protag.
protagonist in the
Yeah.
movie. That's
Yeah.
what he's called.
We'll call him Protag. So Protag, right? All right. So old girl sees herself jumping off the boat because she met old boy at that specific time because he knew that was the happiest day he had was the day he met her going back to kill him. He's dead. Why would he go back to the day where he died for this to happen? He died at the end of that encounter. He went back to that day because he had an encounter with her that was the best day of his life, but she was not there. Only her who killed him was there. He would be dead after the initial encounter. Are you telling me there's a time loop in which he knows, in which he dies with the memory that this was a good day, so he can go back and die?
What's happened has happened.
Once again, they also
Sure.
say
Again,
based on that,
that's
it
the
would have
best
to be
answer.
time is linear
Right.
again, and they say numerous times not linear.
But you can't have a time not be linear if you can't travel through it. You're only going backward and forward.
But you're there in both timelines, so you can actively change it. And then once it happens, it happens. That's what they say over and over.
Okay,
They're like, once
so he
you
can
even see
die,
Robert
sure.
Pattinson do it at the end.
Sure,
Like he
so-
shouldn't have done the things that he did, but he does those things, and he's like, "Well, I have to go do this because it's already happened."
Right.
They didn't
But
say,
he
"Hey,
didn't die. He died to save old boy at the end. So he saw himself die. Fine. He saw himself die at the end to save protagonist. So he knows he has to go through the whole thing so he can die to save the protagonist in a loop. Cool. How does Sator know he dies on the boat and it's still the happiest day he ever had with the knowledge? How would you
because
have
what has happened happened."
Sure. Okay. So explain that to me.
So let's say he goes through all that bullshit,
Okay.
and then he goes into inverted timeland, right?
But he's dead. Remember, he's dead now.
No,
No.
no.
He's
You're
dead.
you're asking me. This is
Okay. go
he's
ahead.
not dead.
Who?
He's
Sator.
not dead.
How?
Doesn't matter, right? He's not dead. He goes through all this shit, and then he says, "All right, I'm going to go back in time to this date, and that's the day that I'm going to go ahead and set all this off."
Because
Hold on.
oh no. I need you to answer this question. He went back to that day because that was the day that he had the best day of his life. He would have been dead at the end of that day.
No,
How does he go back
was
to the
only
day?
dead because he died. That's how the whole movie's set up. That you don't actually know if there was a parallel timeline to start with. You only see the timeline that's caused by what they are already doing. They never say we can't, because he says multiple times throughout the movie, "Well, can't I just change it? What happens if we change it?" And they're just like, "Well, what's happened. And then he'll change something."
That's exactly the thing I'm talking about. They're saying, hey, don't think about it. Just consume product, which is fine. But what you're
But I
trying
think
to explain to me
I think
is
it's a really interesting way of doing it, saying, "Hey, you can change something,"
Sure.
but ultimately you haven't changed anything because you already decided to change that. The minute that's where time
Have you ever
travel
played a
always
game
gets
with the kid?
convoluted.
Have you ever played a game with like your friends when you were younger, and you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I can run really fast," and your friend's like, "Oh, I've got net powers," and you're like, "Oh, that's cool." Well, luckily I've got fire boots, so it burns nets. And he's like, "Well, luckily my net's made of water," and you're like, "Okay, all right. How many layers of this are we gonna have before someone admits to saying, hey, here's how time travel works?" Unless it doesn't. It's great. It's a great way to write yourself out of a corner, but it's really
Not
hard
time
to
travel.
Sure, time inversion. Sorry, unless you want it to be.
But we've never experienced time
Let's-
inversion before, so we don't actually
is
know how
true.
time inversion works.
Sure, that's a great way to explain that. That's
You're
fine.
asking me how to explain it.
No, that's
I'm
fine.
saying
right. What
the
I'm saying is,
things
don't
that
give
he-
me a don't. If you're going to explain something and you just say a wizard did it, your explanation is the equivalent of a wizard did it, and that's fine. Just say a wizard did it. At the end, so in this movie, wizards make time travel, and everything's fine. That's just how you explain that.
No, somebody in the future makes something and then comes all the way back. They leave people things. Because once you put it in the digital footprint, it's there in the future. So they saw it, so you can make requests of the person in the future and they can make sure that it's there for you. It was actually really well done, and it kills me that there's one little thing that
No,
you don't
there's
want to
multiple
accept.
things.
They
So-
didn't call it time travel.
Hold
So if
on,
they didn't
there's-
call it time travel,
there's-
everything you know about time travel is gone. You can't say this isn't time travel. It's time inversion. It's an all new thing. So going from here on out, as long as time inversion works this way and any other time inversion movie, we have now made the rules of time inversion, in which we can't really argue because that's how this made up thing
No. You're
works.
saying that the rules don't matter. It's a moot point. At the end of the day, you're never going to be able to convince me because If your end of the answer is Wizard did it, you can't come. So you have to send things back in real time. It's fine to send items back. You can send gold back. It doesn't age. If you invert it, put it in a thing that hasn't been built yet, fine. But remember, they send things back and it changes. It's supposed to change the future, so things can happen to alter what's going on. It's the grandfather paradox, which they explain away by whatever happened. Like what has happened. It's.
But at least he thought about it enough to know that there would be people that complained and said, well, I'm going to make new rules for an all new thing that I'm creating now.
Sure, fine. That's, again, like I'm not sure where the argument here is. If the answer is a wizard did it, that's fine.
So can I just say Nolan did it because he makes his own rules up all the time?
Yes,
and
that's
you
fine.
think it says the same thing?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because there's no magic people in the movie.
That's a completely fine
So
answer.
Nolan did it.
Nolan did it. Yes, that's a fine answer. It still doesn't change the fact something can be convoluted and not make any sense, still be great to watch and still not make any sense. There's nothing wrong with that. The weird part is that you're trying to justify.
I feel like it did make sense,
right.
though.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying.
He's like, I like how he's like, it made sense, but you're trying to ask him like, so explain this. He's like, I can't explain it.
No, I'm
Just
explaining
magic
it.
Nolan.
I'm explaining
Yeah.
it the way that they did in the movie, which made perfect sense.
Except for that's fine. Sure.
All right.
No, you're saying based on rules of time travel that we
No,
already
no,
know.
You never said that at all.
Thank you. I'm saying by the rules established in the current movie,
Correct.
things have to happen in order for the next thing to happen. So what I'm saying is, if he says, I have to do this, because it even makes Robert Pattinson's sacrifice at the end nonsensical, because he says, what has happened has happened. I have to go do this now. You don't. You don't, because by your own rules, you don't have to do it. You're choosing to do it. You can say, I'm going to do it.
But then that opens up multiple universes, which they don't have. They only have what
Except
has
for the
happened.
one where so he sends the technology for Tenet is sent back in time to affect the future. He works for himself at some point after me. So Neil creates the interaction with him that makes him go to the future to recruit Neil to go back and make the interaction with him in the first place. That has to happen at some point. It's fine if you're like, sure, like there's no first time. It's a loop. It's a loop in time that can never be broken. He met Neil in the future. He
I
tells
understand
Neil
what you're saying.
to
I'm
go-
just choosing to say.
Sure, fine. Like your answer of like Wizard did it is fine. If that simple thing me
Also,
telling you right
I
now,
think a big part of it is we keep thinking, like I'm reading here, we keep thinking of time as like
it's not linear. I'm not thinking of it linear.
no, I'm thinking, but we keep saying time is word. In this, literally what they're saying is you go to a period and you as the individual are moving backwards and everything else is just moving
That's time.
forward. But
That's time. You're
Nolan
still,
did it.
You're moving forward.
I
and
mean-
hold on. You're still moving forward. Think about this. You're inverting the time around you. That's why you breathe. That's why you breathe in carbon dioxide in the past or in the inverted time and not oxygen. That's why you need oxygen because it's not your lungs don't not fill up because like your lungs don't work if you're inverted. They're
just
doing
always
that because
breathing
you're
out instead of
breathing
breathing
out.
in.
Right. You're all right. So you're breathing in reverse. You're still experiencing time forward. The world around you, entropy is moving backward. The laws still apply.
Appears to be moving
Appears to be no, it is moving.
No,
backward.
they said it appears to be moving backwards.
No,
but when they
it says
but when they
in
played,
this, it says you're inverted.
She
you're
said-
moving backwards. Time is moving normal.
yeah, she even
Right.
said at the
So
beginning
fair.
with the
You've
bullet,
been-
she's
right, right,
like,
right, right.
when we play it, it comes to the same thing.
Right. So
The
okay,
bullet
fair,
was dropped.
Fair. Which again, that line was stupid because it's like you have to pick this bullet up. You have to have dropped it. No, somebody put it in the box. Like who put it in the box? Me? Did I put it in the box? Did I drop it in the box before I knew of its
This
existence?
is why you could never be part of Tenet because you think about things too linearly, and if you don't stop thinking about time linearly, you're never going to
Wizard did
survive.
it. Fine. Sure. Wizard did it. Like who dropped it? Oh no, you did. Right now. Okay. Fine. How did it get in the box? You dropped it right now. Fine. Okay. So by that, so what is there? Okay. Again, sorry we've
The
spent so much
special
time on
effects
this
were
one
very
point.
cool.
That is just a really big story problem I have with a lot of movies. Like Nolan does that a lot in his movies. Where if you watch Interstellar is the exact same thing. The
But
alien, they save the
can you
world.
Use like
He
real
saves
world logic
no,
in a movie,
which is fine.
though,
No. Again, which is fine.
That
like
doesn't
you can
follow standard of real world.
No,
logic.
you don't have to. You don't even have to. You don't even have to give me a good explanation. An explanation is fine. But if you wipe away all of your issues with doesn't matter, then your movie doesn't matter. it's still a great ride. I still enjoyed the fireworks. I mean, the special effects, 10 out of 10. Like, the movie itself was a wild ride from start to finish. I get it. It's not up to me to ask, wait a minute, if he starts Tenet, but he meets the guy who he recruits to go back to tell him who told him in the first place. Oh, him? Okay, sure, fine. Why wouldn't he just go back and kill Sator before everything started? Like, meet Sator, kill him immediately, easy peasy. Because you have an entire timeline of where he is. Like, remember, Sator, for the car chase, he has his people in the present time, in regular time.
That was one of
Tell him it was super good.
Temporal
Temporal pincer. Right. So he has his people in the current time. Tell him exactly what happened, so he can tell people going backward exactly what happened in the order it happened, so they can do it all in reverse in order to basically find the algorithm. You could just go back to when Sator was a child and kill him, because if the rules of time, if the grandfather paradox doesn't matter in this world,
but Sator's the Russian dude, right?
Yes.
Okay, so even if he died, there would still be that person in the future that is so pissed off that they have no resources, and they're still going to send it back. So then it's going to go to a new person.
Okay.
So how do we know that technically Sator is always the guy who gets it? After eliminating Sator, is there somebody else that then gets the right? So that's the whole thing. So it does always change, but once it's happened, it's happened.
Sure, but you don't think that kind of nullifies the entire reason for the existence of the movie? If stopping Sator doesn't stop the problem, which is fine, it only creates a new loop where they can send it further back until they get it right. Fine, cool, but you don't hear how what you're saying only makes my point a little bit stronger. That we were there for the adventure. We're not there for the plot holes. I'm literally saying this is one negative that Nolan has in a lot of his movies. He explains away problems in his movie with, here's some flashing lights, and you're like, oh, all right, that was bright. That is fine. And then somebody says something smooth, and you're just like, oh, okay. How we both end up at this bar, at this restaurant in France, who I don't know.
I guess here's the difference. I'm not disagreeing with the issue that you have. I'm not at all. I actually totally get the issue that you have. My thing is, even if a movie does not do the best job.
Some jobs, all I'm asking.
Well, they did do some job.
Well,
they said,
also explained something about free will and saying that free will is the reason that.
Right. All it does is.
No. But here's a whole. You're saying the attempt or some reason you don't like the reason they gave in this, but it was still a reason. They didn't just ignore it all. So they brought up the grandfather paradox. They said, "What's a big problem with time travel? Grandfather paradox. We'll bring that up. What's a big thing with?" Well, how do I know what I've done or what I'm going to do is going to be sufficient? They said, we're going to bring that up. Well, what about free will in these situations? Well, we're going to bring it up. I'm not saying they handled it the best, but they still made note that these are tried and true issues with time travel-esque movies. Here's where I'll say the biggest difference for me is, while I was watching it, everything that they were saying, even if I was like, well, okay, it was still made sense enough in the movie that I never got stuck during the movie and couldn't enjoy the movie.
I didn't either.
That's right. So I'm saying for me, I think that's the difference. Like I don't think about it past that.
Yeah, powers, stuff happens. I get it.
No.
That's the same thing.
No,
powers,
it's not.
Stuff happens.
No, because Jamie liked the New Mutants and
Sure, just because a movie is good doesn't make the exact same reasons why the other movies. But you can tell the same story good. You can tell the same story poorly. Mm-hmm. Just because one person told it well does not mean that it's still not a stupid thing to do. Yep. Like, again, it's the reason why Elex, you don't know this game. Elex,
I do.
It's garbage. It is the exact same game as Kingdoms of Amalur. Like, how you describe Kingdoms of Amalur is how I see. I'm like, yeah, that's Elex. But it was done correctly. Same concept, same issues. Like, every review I've heard for Kingdoms of Amalur, I'm like, yeah, that's why Elex kind of sucks. It, like, frame rate issues. It has problems where NPCs just disappear. You know, like you'll go into a save and something will be missing. And you're like, what? But then the new one doesn't. You know, has a lot of those problems fixed or whatever. There's a reason why some people love Skyrim, which is a buggy, absolute garbage mess, and some people hate Outer Worlds, which is just that game done way better. You can tell a good story poorly. You can tell a poor story well. Both of these movies told a convoluted nonsense story. Well, New Mutants didn't tell a story, sorry. But it was still a good movie. It was a great movie. It didn't. None of these problems stopped
New
me
Mutant.
from.
No, he means Tenet, not New Mutants.
Yeah, like Tenet. None of these problems stopped me from enjoying the movie. The movie is great. Like it's just halfway through these things, you're like, well, yeah, but if you've got this, okay, you're starting to. Don't touch your former self. Cool. Don't touch yourself in the past. Wear this suit. At no point. Hold on. So you can get the blood from yourself, your old self, on your new self. Like he shot himself in the arm. The blood can touch you, not the skin. No, it's fine. You don't have to think about it. They
Did
said
he
you
get
can't
the blood
shot
on
him in the
him?
arm. You're
But
telling
did
me
he
he
get
was
the
holding-
blood? But did he get the blood on him?
Well, he stabs him.
and shot him or stabbed
No,
him.
he
sorry.
stabs him in the. He
Yeah.
stabs him in the.
Then they continue
bicep.
fighting. You're telling me,
But the blood like doesn't necessarily get on his skin. I don't think.
Right.
I don't think it gets
sure,
on his
but
skin.
have you ever been in a fight? Have you ever been in a sure? But again, you're right. They didn't
But yeah,
explicitly
yes,
say
exactly
that blood touched him. I'm saying
Yes.
if you've ever
They
punched
said-
somebody
actually
in the
said
nose,
skin to skin,
so okay,
blood of my blood, flesh of my.
right?
I don't know.
Fine,
bro.
you know, hey, fine.
Wizards did it.
Again, one gripe. Sorry I spent so much time on this. Did not know it was going to be so important to you to me to point out if a plot hole exists and you decide that
The
the way
difference is I don't feel like it was a plot hole is the only reason I'm arguing with you. I'm not telling you that I disagree with what your thinking is. I'm saying I feel that the movie did a sufficient job of plugging up the plot hole enough that it only became a I duct taped my motor back together so it still runs problem
Yeah.
instead of a plot hole.
I kind of
It's
see it
fair.
as the same. Like it's not
That's
a. There's
fair.
not. It's not a plot hole. You just don't like the.
it's a contrivance.
You just don't
Is that
like
better?
the explanation they gave
Yes.
you.
Is contrivance
much
better?
Much
A
better.
hole is like, you know,
It's too big to get past.
right.
Like the
It's a
issues
plot
with,
contrivance.
with like
It's
with
a-
New Mutants, like she has to be awake to do the barriers, or how do they get food, or like the issues
Yeah.
that we have with that. Those are huge plot holes. Like we're like none of this makes sense.
Right. I also wouldn't call those plot holes. That's more they're just a once you
The
put so
barrier
many
thing, the barrier thing's a plot hole.
I do think but that's assuming that the barrier was magic
That's
and not
Also
mechanical.
assuming
Yes.
that we all understand how powers work.
Shut up.
Like,
Anyway,
I'm
that's
just
the same
saying-
thing
I'm
I'm
just
talking
saying.
about. That's-
Right. But I'm saying with this, I feel like they did a shoddy restoration job where it may not be all shiny and clean, but it was
They
still
can sell the
effective.
house. It's fine. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you won't notice until you live there for a while that the pipes
Until you sit
don't
and
make
think
sense.
about it more and more.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching the movie's incredible. Like the movie's great. I was just mad at that. They were like, yeah, no, this is fine. This is okay. And obviously it is because I'm the only one with this issue. Fine. Like I'm not the
Oh
one.
no,
you know.
there was several
I don't
times
think it's
during
you're the only
movie
one
I
with
was
the
like,
issue.
mm.
I think you're just the only one that's not accepting the things that they told you to fix those issues.
Can
So
we also-
like I think all the things you're saying, I'm like, yeah, those are issues of the movie. But then they're like,
Wizard did it. Yeah. And we're all fine
I
with it.
wouldn't say Wizard did it,
Magic Time Genie.
but
did
they
it.
would say like the
Time Lord.
grandfather thing. He
Doctor
said,
Who came back.
He says,
This is
if
the
you kill
rules.
your grandfather, do you exist? And he goes, maybe we don't know. But then at the same time,
That's why
he
it's a
kind of
paradox.
he kind
There's
of
no
explains
answer.
it
It's
as
a paradox.
like I said, think the alternate parallel timeline thing. So maybe you kill your grandfather in this timeline and you don't exist, but because you did exist when you killed your grandfather, you maybe created an alternate timeline.
Well,
so
that's
when
what I'm
you
saying,
go
right.
back to your
So
timeline,
that's what I'm saying, the whole-
you're not in the timeline you were originally in.
Right.
But that's why you can't think about time as linear.
I'm not thinking. Okay.
I know that.
But that's what every time they try to.
I don't think he's
every
thinking as
time-
linear. He's
No,
just
I'm
like
not. No.
plot hole.
That was
Here's
the line
thing.
in the movie.
Explain to
Every
me what
time
this thing is.
Every time they try to talk about time, they're like, "You think about time linear. You have to stop." So every time he keeps going, "Well, this and that." Nope, that's linear time
Right.
thing.
What-
We live in a giant dome where everything happens simultaneously, and there's no
It's a
line.
clever way-
It's a
again,
sphere of bullshit.
It's a clever device to go, don't think about it, consume product. I am totally fine with that answer. That does not make it a good answer, but I can be fine with something that's
C's,
not.
C's get degrees, baby.
That's what I'm
So,
saying, right.
Like,
Hey, he said, hey, you could worry about it, or you could watch this plane crash into a building. And I was like, nah, and I clapped my hands and I watched the
or
plane
you
crash
could
into
watch the
building.
explosions go in reverse,
Right. Oh, it was
and
incredible.
people dodge the
great.
He
reverse
drove.
explosions.
I get it, man. He drove a car out of a crash. Like the crash, the car flipped into a crash. Like it was incredible. Like the whole movie was good. But yeah, my bad. I controlled like that. Was a problem for me. Movie in general, super good. Maui.
No, it's extra.
No,
No, he started. He went. I went. He joined in. Your turn now. You
Oh.
in that bitch.
Well, I didn't like the movie at all, actually.
Hold on. Are you trolling?
Which it's funny that you would even question me because you what have I been talking about? Like what's important to me when I watch something? Story and things to make sense. then-
Extreme story.
Not even extreme story, but so there was a
I
few
can't
things.
get behind the things I know you watch, and then you say things like this. have no story.
No,
I
but
just-
hold on.
I
Let him
don't-
explain. He didn't necessarily say there was no story.
Well, there's always a story.
You got to wait until he explains why, and then I'm gonna learn you up. I'm gonna get your game up. I'm gonna get your clutch game up. You wait until he makes his point, then you attack the point. We in there. Go ahead. Say your dumbass opinion.
So my problem that I had with the movie was it started weird. So I was like, all right, movie starting, and then you like, there's no like stereotypical like credit. Then like, all right, now whatever, this is starting. Like, it just kind of just jumps into it, and the entire time like I'm trying to recover. Like, all right, so when are we gonna like take a pause? So like when are we gonna set the table? And that never happened. Like, then we just started and ended.
Yeah, and it just
So-
okay. I'm sorry to
It set
interrupt
the
you.
table for a
that's-
whole
No,
hour.
it literally what? No, the
No,
exact.
it did
So what
not.
I'm telling you is like the entire movie from like A to B to C to D to E to F. It's just like cool. It happened.
Right.
Like I know that you're saying. Here's the no. There was literally he went from doing that job. No explanation on why he's doing the job. That's fine. I was like, they're gonna get to it.
CIA
Sure.
When did it say he was
Tell me
CIA?
they
multiple
didn't.
times.
Mm,
Yes, they did.
Well, yeah, they did.
That
Sorry,
was
sorry,
the whole
sorry.
code. The
Yeah.
whole code was CIA
Right,
shit.
so they're saying-
they didn't know what the algorithm
Yeah, yeah,
was. So the whole time he went in as a CIA agent, and then they tested him to figure out the Tenet stuff.
Yeah.
So the whole thing was explained.
Hold on. No, they didn't explain if the test
did
was.
not.
They didn't explain if he was on that mission and there was a test, or if every person has those fake cyanide pills, which sounds
Right.
convoluted if you think about it. Why would you give every single field agent?
They made it sound like the whole thing was a
no,
test.
no. They didn't make it sound like anything. They left it vague, and it's up
Mhm.
to your interpretation. I listen for these things when I watch movies.
But see, that's also in my eyes, that's positive.
But
I
it's
guess.
fine. Well, hold on.
Yeah.
It's up to the interpretation. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
So what?
A lot of this movie is, are you willing to? Sorry, my bad. Are you willing to accept A or B or C? Because like they go from here's this mission you're on, no explanation. We don't know why we're in the opera house. They've made a guy. Why is he there? We don't know. Why are the inverted things there? We don't know yet. Okay.
partially a choose your own adventure.
Right,
movie.
and then so
I
we don't know
chose
why
fun.
they're. Yeah, we don't know why the movie was still fun. We don't know why they're there. Fine, he's
Hold on,
there
stop.
though.
Stop, hold on. Yeah. Maui.
Now you can finish.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
thing.
So then we don't know why he's there. Then he gets interrogated by some guy, maybe somehow. I don't know how the guy knew. Not important, apparently. Then he takes a cyanide pill, which he thought was going to kill him, which apparently every agent has.
Mhm.
He wakes up out of a medically induced coma because those guys didn't kill him. Like the guy who was like,
that
was
was
the-
the test.
That was the test
why?
because
to see if he was ready to do Tenet.
correct.
Sure. What's his background? Usually, when you have like, hey, you're a decorated officer. We just wanted to test you in a real life scenario because this next assignment's going to be hard. They go straight from here's the job you're on.
He was superhuman CIA.
Sure. How do you know that? How do you know that? You tell me.
So I like this a lot because I need information, right? Xavier, X, Tim, you guys live in like, I don't need all the information. Just give me like
Powers?
generalities, and I'll just come up with the rest and make it make sense for myself. I don't do that. So when I'm watching a story, especially when it's something that's visual like a movie, I'm expected for you to explain what I'm watching, why am I watching, what are your points, why are you doing these things. So the entire time I'm watching this movie, it just starts. It doesn't give you time to breathe. It doesn't explain anything. Everything's just conversation. Also, I didn't like that everybody spoke very quickly. Like there was no like. It wasn't a natural
unnatural.
conversation.
So
Right. It was just quick. It was like,
Movies
pop,
have
pop,
that
pop,
problem.
pop, pop.
Well, so I get it. Movies do have that problem where they can't. Real life has ums.
It's
Right.
like
You
Gilmore
have
Girls.
ands, and this movie was like, nope. Everybody was ready.
Right.
It was
Have you
a
ever
quick,
watched?
ready.
hold on.
Question. I
Every
got a
single
question
person
real
in this
fast.
movie was smooth.
I got a question for quick.
Yeah.
So have you seen?
Maui.
Oh, for Maui, my bad. Have you seen what was the Dark Knight?
Which one?
The Dark Knight. It's called the Nolan movie.
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight Rises. Which one?
Which one?
Isn't it just,
Bane,
it's just called the Dark
Joker-
Knight? It's just called
no.
the Dark Knight.
Dark
I
Knight
guess the
Rises.
Dark
There's
Knight.
Batman Begins. There's
Dark
Dark
Knight.
Knight, and then there's Dark Knight Rises.
Right, but I
So
didn't know if
which
you were
one?
just
So I
generalizing.
asked him if he
Oh,
said he's
just
seen the Dark
Reggie
Knight.
Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I
That's
was
what I was
gonna say.
asking. I want to make sure.
Have you
Yeah.
seen the Joker one?
So
Yes.
yeah, it's the Joker one.
Yeah.
So in the beginning of the movie, it starts off almost exactly like this movie does, where it's just a scene happens, action, you don't know why anything's happening, right?
Yeah, but
no,
hold
no.
on.
So basically, the Joker goes into the bank,
Joker's in the jail.
blows that shit. No, he goes into the bank,
Mm-hmm.
blows all that shit up,
Yeah.
steals all that money,
Correct.
takes off in the school bus, and then
Yeah.
takes off and the movie starts.
Right.
Do you need to know why the Joker did
That's
that?
not the important part.
There's
That's
so
different.
there's-
But
No,
you-
that's
I got something.
But
for
I'm
his ass.
just saying that's the same kind. That's
No.
in my eyes. In my
Eventually,
eyes,
it's not. Hold on. I got something for his ass real quick. So it's not even remotely the same because one, there was already a movie before that, so it establishes the world and Batman and all that stuff. Two, it's a superhero movie, So it goes into you assuming that you know certain characters and backstories. So that was just an introduction to Joker in this movie. That's what that was the purpose of that scene. Hey, we're talking about the Joker's in this movie now, and this is how you meet him. That's what that was. Then after that, it starts the movie.
Here's all the.
See, I see it as in Joker's a villain, so he did villain things. You don't really need to like know why he did a villain thing.
But you know
So
the
in this
Joker.
movie, I see it as in he's a CIA agent. He did a CIA agent thing. Like I don't need to know
But
if
it's
he
a
was
new
a
IP.
super CU.
Have
No,
you
but
ever,
they
have you
said
seen
he
an
was
origin
CIA.
story?
They said he
Have
was
you ever
CIA.
seen any origin
I
stories?
have, and I
So
don't
would
like
you be
origin
fine
stories.
with right again? So this is another issue that we know that about you.
Yeah.
You don't like to be explained why something is the way it is. You just want it to be.
Just want to accept it. Yeah,
That's not true.
100%.
We've gone through this countless times where I'm like, hey, here's
It
how this
depends
thing-
on the origin
Right.
story.
You're like, no, I don't want it long and drawn out.
Not even
I
that.
want
He just wants to be visually entertained,
Which is
so
fine.
like you
There's
see,
nothing
that's
wrong
okay.
with that.
Yeah,
and that's not
perfectly okay.
it depends on. I want to be visually entertained depending on what I'm watching.
Right.
Yes.
So this is similar. Right. So for certain type of media imbibers, like for me, the reason why I consume media in the way I do, like I don't have to watch. You always ask me why I don't watch anime with the sound on. It's the exact opposite reason that I don't watch YouTube videos with the video on. I'm taking both of those medias for different reasons. Like it's when I'm watching, like I don't need sound for anime to be good for me personally. But in movies, like English movies and things like that, I have to have the entire
It's
thing
all
to
part
get
of the
the
story.
right because it's all part of
the presentation.
the
I would say.
presentation. But the reason why I don't need to watch visually in YouTube videos because I've learned that the video itself is useless. The information from the video is only in the sound. I know that sounds dumb because there's a lot of visually impressive.
No, but that's that's why I
but
say
right,
I
so
get that.
What
but
I'm
like
saying is,
said,
I get that
yeah.
the way you ingest media is, you're like, is this going to be lights pow pow or is this going to be
But it depends on the movie, though.
okay? What's it? Or every time I ask you about origin stories, you're like, yeah, it was a little long. And I'm like, it was like 10 minutes. You're like, yeah, a little long.
I guess like I said, I'm not thinking in a generality of other people. I'm thinking of just me.
Sure.
An origin story, though, has to be about a character that's already been developed somewhere else.
No, it doesn't.
Not a new IP. No, I'm saying for him.
Oh, well, what I'm saying. All right,
He
so
wouldn't
yes.
call
Talking about what he's
a new IP a origin story. He's going to call Spider-Man or X-Men or
Right.
something that's already got
Okay,
an established
so
history
the reason
in
why
origin story.
The word origin story isn't the necessary word that I need for this. It's the concept of when you're introduced to an IP, how do you want to consume it? For me personally, I expect Chekhov's gun. Something that you talk about at the beginning of the movie had either better be resolved by the end, or you've given me some indication that there's another form of media, whether it be a second movie or a wiki or something that's going to give me that information. I have no idea why the character was where he was at the beginning. It's even an important plot point later because Sater knows about the opera house. Was it because I'm assuming that it's because there was a piece of the algorithm there and he was transporting it? Maybe. Do you know?
Oh no, yeah, it was. Remember, he found the piece of
Oh,
the
because he
algorithm.
found a piece of the
But
algorithm. in the thing.
but that's what
Right.
I'm saying. So like, so you want to leave zero assumption.
No. There's a way to do nuance in a movie. You can do a movie.
But I'm
where
saying
you're
if he
like-
was like you said, why you want to know why he's at that
Sure.
place? You
Why
can't.
is-
You
why
can't
was he
just.
chosen? Why was
You
he
can't
chosen?
just be. You can't just assume that like he was said, hey, go on this
Look,
mission.
Right. Here's the problem with the resolution of that. He was chosen to be on that mission because he himself in the future chose for himself to be in the opera house.
Did that not resolve it for you?
Sure. Like, that's a Wizards did it kind of problem, but you didn't. Did you think
But
about
the
that?
wizard didn't do it. He did it.
Right. Did you think about that?
No, I didn't.
Right. It wasn't important for you. I had to figure that. I was like, well, I'm using their roundabout logic to fill in the gaps that they themselves couldn't do. Which, sure, you can say that's effective if they're. You can say like when they're like, why didn't you tell me about this in the beginning? But would you really have learned, nigga? Why didn't you just tell me how to get there? Like, why didn't you say take this eagle to Mordor? Why'd you make me walk all the way there?
Give a man a fish he eats for a day.
Teach a man to walk
fish.
through a fucking fiery mountain, and then what? He
You
could have just
saved
flown
the
the Eagles.
world.
But I get, but
The
for all the
Eagles
Lord of the
weren't
Rings
gonna
fans,
help
I
him.
get it for all the Lord of the Rings fans. I know they have
They
in
have
the actual
rules and
canon,
they have-
There's like archers and shit at the. I get it. The Eagles might not have made it. All I know is at the end of the movie, Eagles came and got
The
them. Why
Eagles
couldn't they take
also
them?
the Eagles also
And
had
if you
rules.
explain
and
it as in like,
Oh.
but it would have been an adventure. That's lazy. But sorry, I apologize. But I was saying like that's exactly like. Why was he on that little? Why was he on the? why was he
D-Mark
on the
wants
lighthouse?
no one to have fun ever. He wants everything to be
Oh,
point
trust
blank,
me.
cut and dry.
Hey, people hate watching
Imagine
things with me. I
someone
get it.
giving their opinion on something, and
No.
then it's like, oh, how can you hate this thing that I like so
No,
much?
I
No, he
understand.
said,
How do you not
I
see-
want this to happen so that this never had to happen and I never even had to see it to have this conversation because
No.
that's the best story wrap up ever.
No.
And then you're like, oh man, you just literally said in a mocking tone, then there would have been no adventure.
Right,
The
what I'm saying-
adventure is the fun part.
Right. No. What I'm saying is
No.
the way if they're like, why didn't you give me this information at the beginning? And their answer is because
Well,
it
it would've
wouldn't
ruined the
have-
whole thing.
Correct. So
Then you
what you're
fucked up.
saying, thank you.
That's
What I'm
bad
saying is like,
storytelling.
oh, you're lazy.
Yeah,
If someone to
Name a story that doesn't do that.
you
there's quite a few
Hold on.
actually.
Nope. This is like earlier when you said, tell me one thing that
Okay.
black people haven't ruined.
that is fair. I did say that sports. It's only sports. Entertainment. We
We
only
did-
haven't ruined entertainment.
did
Property
narrow
values,
it.
we killed that shit.
We
But so like for instance, I mean I'm going with anime again. If you've ever seen a like Full Metal Alchemist, like if you've seen
I
Brotherhood,
want Maui to
at
tell
almost no
no.
point in Brotherhood, there were parts where I'm like, huh, but they left everything so you only had to know what was going on at the exact moment, and that did a great job of like, oh, since I don't know what's gonna happen, it doesn't matter. Like it's a tricky one because anime actually usually does a pretty good job of this. Sometimes they have a weird one where I'm like, well, wait a minute. If you knew this was about to happen, why didn't you just? But there's a lot of anime like Akame ga Kill. At no point.
Well, we're also equating a movie that's 2.5 hours to a
Sure,
22
sure,
episode.
sure.
So you
So,
would
right,
almost
so
have
what
to
I'm saying-
equate.
So name it. Hold on.
You
Well,
name
no,
it.
but I get
you'd
what
have
you're
to
saying,
equate
like-
it to an anime movie,
Right,
I
right.
guess.
So I mean, have you ever watched?
But it's still bad story. You can't say like, well,
Depending
they
on
only
the
had a
time.
3
I'm
hour
not
movie.
saying that. I'm just saying just
No,
for
no,
the
no, no.
simple
I want to
fact
hear. No, I want to hear
of
what
a
Maui.
movie.
Sure, yeah,
I don't know
sorry.
if you can. I get bad storytelling, but I'm saying that a 2.5 hour movie didn't
But
do
no,
a
I
well
get it,
fleshing
'cause
out
that
a
was our
story,
New Mutant-
and then a
that's fair.
22 episode show did a better job.
That was my New
Obviously, the
Mutants argument.
show
So honestly, I
has
will
a better
concede.
chance.
No, it's not.
I'm not
No,
saying
I
it
can
is. I'm
concede
saying it
what
has
he's
a better
saying. I'm not saying that-
chance to flesh out a story if you have 22 episodes over 2.5
Yeah,
hours.
I'm not saying. Well, what I'm saying is
I'm
you
just
can
saying you
still.
have a
Hold on.
better
Hold on.
chance.
Hold on. Hold
You
on.
can
Hold
scale
on.
media.
Hold on.
Let him
You-
finish.
You can scale media.
Ain't nobody
You
let
can
you
have-
finish.
It's cool.
Yeah, my bad. I
It's good,
apologize.
it's cool.
This is the last time I'm saying. You can scale media. You can tell a good story in 2 hours. You can tell one in 20 in 200 hours. You know, there's just a lot about the movie that expected you to just sit there and look stupid, and that was my big. Like again, I'm not saying the movie was bad. I enjoyed the movie. I mean, I'm
That's
interested to
actually
see,
Nolan.
again, or-
That's all I thought the
right.
whole time is
And
Nolan
Nolan-
likes to make people feel dumb
Right.
and inadequate.
But
this was
the
a
only
fun
reason
movie.
he's doing it, but he's not doing it he's not doing it because he's like, ooh, look how deep. He's doing it because he's like, if you don't think about this, it's really deep.
No, he thinks he's better than us, and that's
Right.
fine. He
It's a very
makes
he's a very pretentious director. He's like, hey, this sounds good, right? And you're like, yeah. It's like, then it is good. You're like, sure.
I wouldn't even say that. I just think,
Oh my bad.
and I don't even think that. Did he write this? Is this all from him?
Yeah, he wrote it and
Oh
directed
God. So I typically like Christopher Nolan movies. I think he does a really good job, especially visually. I was actually going to make the comment that all Christopher Nolan movies have the same like filter. They all kind of look the same. Like you just know it's his movie. Like he just has a signature look that you know it's his. So I was really disappointed because you guys gassed up so much, like, oh man, it's so great, and then you even said it was better than Inception, and I really want to slap the shit out of you for saying
No,
something so
I said
so,
I personally liked it more than Inception.
Yeah.
I used my words carefully. I said, hey, you said it when you brought it up.
well,
you,
it's fine.
You told me
you're
to go,
saying in your opinion.
You said
it
if
was
you
better
tell
than
me it's the
Inception.
same thing as Inception, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. Now you're telling me, even though I said I liked it better personally, that you're gonna slap the shit out of me. So it sounds like
Yeah.
I shouldn't have
Well,
talked about it.
Even better. Let me say what else you said. You said, you know what? I just feel like Inception tried too hard to be a thinker, and like Tenet just did a better job. And that's so baffling to me because I didn't have nearly as many questions as I do with Tenet than I did with Inception. The only question I had with Inception was
the
what
top.
was the top. Yeah, that was it.
That
Everything
means
else I
you
was like,
watched Inception A, the wrong way, and B, the only question in this movie is only because they didn't do a great job explaining
That's a really weird point you just made.
me.
no, let him finish it. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
Yeah, he got it.
No,
Continue.
I'm saying Inception, the whole point of the movie was to question everything.
Yeah.
That was the point of Inception. This movie, the only thing that you're questioning is because they didn't do an adequate job of explaining away a paradox of time travel, which is impossible. It is impossible to explain away.
Not time travel.
Stop.
Time inversion.
How can you say it's impossible?
You set the
I
precedent.
know.
You can't.
But they talked about time travel paradoxes, so that's what I'm bringing up. They didn't talk about time inversion paradoxes. They talked about time travel paradoxes.
Hold on. Again, if time inversion, if you still have to travel in
Yes,
real time.
we already said that everything is time travel. This is time travel. This is time travel. This is like literally right now time travel. I'm time traveling. Yeah, I get it. All I'm saying is they did not do a great job of explaining it away, even though they made the attempt. But it was easy to accept that that's kind of the thing they were going for. That any question you had, it was because you were only thinking about time linearly. That was what they said in the movie, right? That's what they said. Anytime they brought up a concern about time, they said, if it happened, it happened. You're thinking about time the wrong way. They kept saying that. Inception, the whole movie was a question. So if the only question you have was were they being incepted or not by the fucking top spin at the end of the movie, I don't understand how that's the only question you had compared to this movie where you seem to have 1,000.
Because there are a lot of problems with this movie.
No, there was one big problem.
No,
That's not
So-
how you.
it's cool. It's fine. So it's what I'm trying to say is that it's shitty storytelling. So again, I didn't like how it just started and it just continued and then it ended. I didn't like that everyone spoke nonsensically. No one's having a conversation, and it sounds like they were like in a marathon. Like I gotta get all my words in, and like there's no break in between. They have to go back and forth. And I'm like, no one talks like that.
Like I
So
said,
it's
that's Gilmore Girls. That's why I can't watch that show.
cool.
Never seen Gilmore Girls. I'll have to watch it.
Chelsea tries to watch it, and I get verbal whiplash. I'm like, who the fuck talks like this? I'm like, and Jamie knows. He watches that whole thing. They fit more dialogue in one episode of that show than an entire season of some.
And it says a lot because I speak fast, right? And then I like to say that we also speak fast. But no one talks like that.
Because we're not
And-
spies.
Right, but it felt so. If they were trying to go for a spy feel, that. Sorry, I continue. Go ahead. Mo.
Yeah. But then on top of all that, like you were saying, a lot of stuff didn't make any sense. It seemed like he was just kind of like they didn't even, and it's funny because they didn't really explain anything to him either. Literally, like, hey, all I got for you is just this Tenet and this. That's it. Put your hands like this and say Tenet, and like it may help you out, it may not. And he was like, okay, and he just
He was
accepted
just
that.
cool with it, bro.
Yeah.
He just vibed with it. He was
Right.
like, "That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough for me."
And then all of a sudden he's in this fucking windmill house that he's just chilling, waiting on a boat. I'm taking somewhere else that happens to have a person out of a car coming in, and like everything's just perfectly planned until the bitch was like, hey, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, Tenet. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah, come in here.
Just vibed with it, bro.
Like what the
It's-
fuck? And it just, and then so when he was doing the whole like, hey, shooting the wall thing, like, well, you're technically catching a bullet, and like, where did this rock come from? Well, we don't even really know. So, and again, to your point, so the bullets were already in there. So it's saying that who shot the thing to begin with? They did. Oh, okay,
Right.
that
Like,
makes
who
sense.
shot the entire?
No,
They
it makes
shot
sense.
the
They
rock
shot it.
because they made an email or something that said, hey, this is the kind of shit that we need to see so that we can develop this
Right,
technology.
but it would imply
And
that
they
he
said
shot
once-
the rock.
It would mean that he
It
already
would
shot the rock, and
thank
because
you.
he's because it
he-
already
that-
happened.
that
he's
gun,
saying
no, that gun shot the rock.
No.
Yes, the gun was the inverted item, not him.
Okay.
So the gun already shot it. So anybody could pick the gun up and the same thing would have happened.
So they shot. Remember, they don't have inversion technology. So they sent the gun and the rock pre-shot
Right.
backward in time
When they already said.
so they can do the experiment that they wouldn't know about because they wouldn't be sending it to them.
Right.
So it would be like, hey, shoot this wall so that when I send it back to you, some scientists will find it and take it to this place for this guy to reverse the bullets. You're telling me that happened?
And then so she
Yes.
explains it.
Yes. Sure. Magician. Magician.
Oh,
did it.
no. It's Nolan. That's
Nolan.
it.
did
It makes him feel better if you just call the magician
Right, 'cause
Nolan.
what I'm saying, the glove thing where he was like, you have to have dropped it in order to catch. Because remember, he went like this, and she was
Right.
like, no. She was like, no, you're just holding your hand out. You have to drop it. And then okay, so who originally
right.
dropped it? And he's like, well, it
You're
doesn't
implying
matter.
that he would have
But
done
it
it.
doesn't matter because when we watch it, no, that's not the same thing. Who shot the original bullets? Was it him in the future?
Right.
And then he sent it back to the scientist?
Right.
Did he? Yes, is the answer.
That if you were to go by the
no,
movie's logic,
because
then
the
yes.
gun,
Can you
the gun is the
Send it
inverted
in
item.
time though.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to. So here. Hold
But
on.
they
hold
didn't
on.
say
bullets
the
were
gun
in
is-
the rock.
The bullets were in the
Yes.
rock.
I'm not explaining that away yet. You got to give me a second to think about
You're
that.
trying.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to formulate
Right.
why
No.
that
You
makes
got to
sense.
think about this. The gun is the inverted item, but the shots have already happened.
Right.
The reason why. So
I'm just saying he doesn't have to be
'Cause you
the
gotta-
one to
no,
have
no.
shot the
Hold
gun.
on,
The
think about
gun
this.
was the one that
the
shot
gun.
the gun.
Think about it. The gun is inverted.
What?
Hold on. The gun is inverted. You're telling me that, let's say there's no bullet holes in your walls right now. If I take an inverted gun, the bullet hole will appear where I would have shot it
After you hold the gun, at what
in
point?
the correct timeline.
Yeah.
Sure.
What?
Sure, bro. That's frustrating, but sure.
Nice, cool. So again, nothing. So wrap it up. 'Cause it's gonna take me a minute to even finish it. Nothing makes sense. They take you on this ride. So I am disoriented the entire time. Also, Regal Cinema, fucking your sound system sucks big fucking donkey dick. Because I was like, what the fuck? You can barely hear it. There wasn't enough oomph in the action scenes. Like I was like, I honestly, I would have preferred to watch this at home.
You gotta go to Dolby.
Honestly, I said that when I was watching it. First off, Corona. Hey, I mean, I hate to say this. Shout out COVID, because being in the movie theater by yourself slaps. That's how I want to watch
it's
every
great.
movie for the rest
It's
of
great.
forever.
Yeah.
But I should have probably seen this in Dolby. The sound, it's a
It
bummer
was
that you didn't.
amazing
It's a
in
bummer
Dolby.
you didn't get that good
Right.
sound. That sound, even without the incredible, Dolby surround, I felt the movie. I can't imagine the quality that that Jamie had it in with the
AMC kills it. Don't go to
with
Regal.
the chair shaking him nutting in the fucking seat because the.
Can you imagine how much your butthole vibrates
I bet.
during a fucking
I
Dolby
bet. That's what I said.
cinema?
That's why I said he nutted. Like they got that prostate simulated.
Yep. So
That's why they got leather chairs.
I was just wondering the entire time. Like, I'm glad you mentioned about like you not knowing the person's name. 'Cause I was like, the entire time, like, why the fuck do I care about any of this? Like, I never felt like there was any reason for me to care. It didn't start getting interesting until you really met old boy, Twilight nigga.
Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just say that he has aged amazingly?
Okay, I was gonna say
For a
He's
white
a
dude, yeah.
handsome motherfucker,
I
bro.
think that now he should only do movies in which he can use his actual voice, because the way he's aged, he has to have a British accent. I don't want to watch no more.
Oh, is he British?
Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah, that was his
He's
actual
in
voice.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, but he didn't have a British accent in it.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
yes, he
Did
did.
he really? Oh wow.
J.K.
Bro, it's been a minute.
Rowling, hold on. J.K. Rowling did not hire anybody who wasn't a native person to
The UK,
like the UK.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
She refused to.
Cedric
She said,
Diggory.
Hold on,
Shout
they
out-
got black people in
shout
the
out
UK.
Hufflepuff.
I could have
you-
sworn it was only
have you-
colonizers.
"Have you never seen Don Cheadle in Italian Job?
He
Or not
do- he
Italian
doesn't
Job.
have a very-
Is
Not
he black?
Italian.
Is he UK?
No,
No, he has a terrible.
It's,
Oh, I forgot
no,
John
it's,
Boyega. He black and he's British.
Yeah.
No, it's
and so does Get Out,
Oceans.
nigga. Get Out,
Who?
nigga's British.
Oh my god, I didn't know that
Oh,
until
yeah.
the one when I finally found out that he was. I was like,
John
uh,
Boyega sounds really weird. Like he has a very
John Boyega is basically Big Sean or whatever.
Big Shaq.
Big Shaq.
yeah, he
When
is
you
Big
hear
Shaq,
when you
yeah.
hear John
Yeah, he
Boyega talk,
sounds
all I hear
exactly
is
like Big
quick
Shaq.
maths.
Yeah, big man. Which I don't mean to bring up another movie, but speaking of Get Out, nigga, he has a fantastic movie coming out, like him being a Black
Oh
Panther.
yeah, I'm ready.
Bro,
I'm ready.
that
for
fucking trailer, I was like, holy
I'm
shit.
ready. I'm ready.
Which, interestingly enough, there's two people in the movie theater besides me, and it was two white men. So after that, the trailer happened, I'm like, damn, I gotta see that movie. And then they both kind of looked at each other, and then they looked forward, and I was like, that's so interesting. It's so interesting to me. Like you can tell there's like, oh, here we go again, more black people stuff. And I was just like, wow.
Why
that is-
can't they just make a movie that has nothing to do with race and it can just be a movie?
Just Talladega Nights 2.
Yeah, that's it.
all I
Which
wanna
is-
see.
Actually, that'd be great.
That would be good.
Well, no, every sequel they've done with Will Ferrell has been bad.
Didn't
on
they make a
those.
second Anchorman?
What's the Get Out dude's name?
Yeah, they did.
Get out, dude.
Kanye West.
Yeah, that's your job. Literally,
Something.
Imagine
something
asking us
African-y?
Right? I've never seen a movie.
something
Something African-y, I
African-y.
think.
Danielle Kaluuya?
There we go.
Daniel.
That's no
Daniel Kaluuya.
Desmond Honsu or whatever, but
Jamon Hansu.
Demon is
No,
his
it's
name.
Jamon.
That's Demon.
Is it Demon?
The J is silent.
Are you sure?
Mhm.
Hey, people in the comments, is it Jamon Hansu, or is it Demon? Like this dude said.
Well, the J is silent.
Is it?
the Black
J-
Panther
the J,
movie
the J
does
is
look
silent
really
in
good.
all
though.
them words that have
They
like.
say it's called Djibouti. What? I'm not saying that to be funny. Djibouti
I
is the name of the
Is
country.
it like Juan or Javier?
Yeah. So why would it's not Djibouti? It's Djibouti. So
Die Booty.
It's kind of funny.
Die
yeah.
Booty is
I'd
objectively
listen to
better.
that, man. But
Yeah,
yeah,
if you're
continue.
Hitler.
My bad.
So yeah, I didn't necessarily like Tenet, and it was because I felt like they just did a very shitty job telling the story. It could have been a lot better. I don't know if maybe he didn't do enough blow. He couldn't finish the script or whatever and make it make sense. I just feel like
I think it said he took 20 years to write.
20
this movie.
years?
What the?
are you kidding me?
Don't tell me that.
Can
It
you
said-
imagine?
I think it said 10 years for Inception and 20 years for
The
this
movie
movie.
done lost so many. The movie done lost points. My
He
rating's
also did a
going down.
lot of stuff.
Wow.
Oh well, you're saying okay. You're not saying that he was right. like okay.
No,
Maybe
he
he's
didn't
doing it
sit
at
down.
that time.
Maybe
You saying
the-
started
maybe
it
the-
He
back
may have
then.
sat down and written
Cool.
one word a
That's-
day
yeah,
for
right.
20
Yeah.
years.
That's what I'm saying. Like you telling like
Not like he
you
wrote
telling
the
like
and
you-
then it took
like
him
he's
20
sitting
years
Can
to
you
write
see him
the
sitting down
end.
at a table and he goes like this? Protagonist.
No,
More
let's go.
tomorrow.
Honestly, it would make more sense if he did it like that. Because that way he didn't. If he only recorded one word a day for 20 years,
And you forgot what
he
you
would have
wrote.
forgot what was at the beginning. So at the end, he would have just been like,
Which, if
"Wizard
that's
did
the
it."
case, this is the best movie that was ever made because it at
kinda-
least made enough
Kind of
sense.
make cohesive sense if he wrote one word a day for 20 years.
But
Now
I-
he's like, still no.
that really just bums me out, especially because he had to have seen the movie like before like putting it out. He had to have seen it from beginning
I
to
bet
end.
you Christopher
and-
Nolan, he thinks his shit probably smelled like roses, bro. I bet money when he watched it, he later was like, yeah, this is it, bro.
Well, I think it's one of those things where I do this sometimes where I think people know what I'm thinking, or like I think I said something but I didn't say it. So he's probably like, yeah, it totally makes sense. And you're like, all these questions, and he was like, what? They were totally answered. How do you not see this? Like it's all in your head, motherfucker. Give me it.
I don't
You
know.
just
I
give it
felt
to
like
me.
they were answered.
Well, wait, because you like
Bro,
generalities.
I
it's
just
fine.
asked you a
accepted
question and you
everything.
said, give me a while to think of how that happened.
oh, what'd you
yeah,
ask me again?
exactly.
Hold on. Well, that's the rum chata shake. Like
Oh, okay.
that's got me slow on my toes.
If you walk into a room and you see inverted bullet holes, would you just not walk out of the room? Because those things can only happen if you stay in the room.
No, because what's happened.
Okay.
I don't know how else to be more clear.
Okay.
That if I see the inverted bullet holes, it hasn't happened yet. So even if I don't continue to walk, who's to say that I was the person they shot at? Who's to say that the person who they were shooting at doesn't walk in after I walk out? It's gonna happen because it already happened. So nothing I do is going to affect the bullet holes that I have already seen.
Or does it?
Thank
Because
you.
That's
That's what. Or
But
does
that's
but that's
whole-
the point.
but that's the
That's
point.
the point. Or does it?
The whole point.
yeah, but that's the point.
The
though.
whole point of it was how much does free will really play into something? How much does this really play into something? Does something that happened has to happen? They question it the entire movie, and they're like, "Don't question it." He's like, "But I'm going to keep questioning it until he doesn't and becomes a badass."
Right. So you're on the proper patents side. We're saying just stop thinking about it. Just
Well,
let
no,
it
I
happen.
mean, like you said, the free will thing. They literally say though, free will is
Sure.
what caused everything
right.
to happen.
And I
in
just
the movie.
asked a free will question,
Mhm.
and they said,
No. I said literally, it doesn't matter what I choose to do. I can choose to walk out, but just because I'm executing my free will
"Cool."
doesn't mean because I executed my free will that still hasn't caused something. So it's. I thought it was interesting because it was a very interesting take on free will versus
Predestination. Or,
yeah.
I
So
get
it was one of those. It wasn't.
I'm not saying.
I don't
that-
think it was meant to be answered. So when Maui's sitting here saying, and I guess I get the whiplash part of it. I personally
Right.
like that because it was different than a lot of other
you remember
movie
that part?
openings.
in the movie where he said, "We only have this intel because they went through this an hour ago."
All
Yeah.
right,
Does
you're
that
talking
not
about at the end of
sound
the movie?
absolutely fucking maddening to hear from a like? You're like, wait a minute. So then, why do we have to do this? If they
Hold on. Do you really need me to do it again?
Yeah, answer.
Because what's happened has happened.
Sure. But you don't have to do the thing once you know what's already happened. If you think about this logic,
Also, what if they didn't succeed in doing the thing
Sure.
that they did an hour ago?
but
But now they have
said
the
they
intel
did.
on it.
But now
No,
they
he,
have-
he doesn't say they succeeded. He doesn't say they
Fair,
succeeded
fair.
because remember they're
They said-
all in that thing because he's like they won't
Right.
let us see them
Right.
because they don't want us
That's
to know what
why
happened.
I love this movie so much because they gave you
He does
no
say that. He doesn't say if they succeed.
definitive.
Because as they're going
Right,
out
but
of the
why
thing,
don't they? If
you
this
see those
happened
people
an
coming
hour
in and their
ago-
bodies are getting carried and shit.
Right. If that happened an hour ago, wouldn't knowing who died and things like that actually better prepare you to succeed? If you failed and you're like, these 30 people died.
Maybe that's why they
but
succeeded.
but the intel only works if you give the intel on what happened and let it play out. Because if you then change it, then your intel is bad because
so then
something
what
else
would be
is
the
going
point
to
of
happen.
getting the future intel? Because if you just now said you can change, if they're getting
No,
the
no,
future
because
intel,
the future intel only affects the person who the intel is given to, and that was mostly the Russian dude who let things play out the way he needed them to play out so that they could be effective for him.
right.
If he
Real
if he took that and he changed it in any
What
way,
you just said. Hold on. You said getting the intel from the future only matters because it'll make the same thing happen from the past perspective. The point of getting the future intel would be to see if the thing worked or not. So you would change it, which would make the future intel
if you want to change
useless.
it, that's the free will part.
But if
of
you
it.
want
so then if it
that's why
doesn't,
I'm
why
saying
would you
that's
just
the whole point of the movie. I think though, that's where we're differing on what we're saying. I'm saying the actual purpose of all of these questions was intentional.
I
It
guess
wasn't
I have
lazy
an issue-
storytelling.
I have an
It
issue
was
with
made to be
inconsequential.
paradoxical.
I have an issue with personally with inconsequential stories. If you Twilight, at the end, when that big ass fight turned out to be a dream, I had to leave. I had to leave the house.
But that's why I've asked you guys multiple times, what is your best definition of point A to point B? This movie made as much sense as it could, and it was good. Not,
Yeah, I mean, I guess we really don't have a baseline.
There's no
base it off of.
baseline for me to understand even where you guys are coming from. You're complaining about
Lots
a
of
movie
movies.
that lives. No, that's what you. I asked
Okay,
it.
so in general,
So hold on, Maui. What's
So,
a movie? Hold on. No, I'm
oh,
asking Maui.
sorry.
Maui.
No,
what?
go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
that's-
I want.
I'm not ready. Ask him.
oh right, so like you got to think about this. So the Harry Potter movies are written for children, right?
The,
No.
they're
written for
writ-
children.
They're written for
Adults-
everybody.
Sure, they're written for children. Adults enjoy them. Fine. If
Young adults.
young adults, they're written for young adults.
I'm a young adult.
Yeah, sure. They're written for young adults with mass appeal. Fine. I don't believe those movies have a ton of like plot holes if you think about them critically. But if you're just looking at them, you're like, okay, this is fine. Like
Even the
from
books
point
have
A to
no. But
From point A to point B, this is fine. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense. Like, how do your
I'm asking you, what is a movie that you feel
Right.
has no plot holes?
No. That's not
That's
a
what
fair
I'm
answer.
asking.
No, right, what I'm saying is you're giving me restriction that doesn't make any sense. Every movie will have a plot hole. How well are they able to make you go? Either that's fine.
Harry Potter
or-
does an awful job. The minute
Sure.
they introduce the pensive, every bit of that movie,
Yes,
everything
we
is
talked
done.
about this before.
That's what I'm
becomes
saying. So
absolute
it's
garbage.
So using
But
this as an example is wrong because they don't
if
clean
that's
that.
the
They
way
don't.
you want
cle-
to define right or wrong.
but they don't
fine.
clean that up cleanly at all. They don't ever tell you why the pensive wasn't. There's not even a line about it. There's not a. Oh well, they wouldn't have believed it anyway, so we didn't use it because you can actually manipulate the pensive or your own memories. They never bring it up.
But you know what? Here's the greatest part about this. Wizard did it.
So you picked the only movie with a wizard in it so that you could
Did the
actually
wizards
say
do it?
a wizard did it.
Did the wizards do it?
Are they wizards or warlocks?
They're wizards
wizards.
and witches.
Wizards and witches. But
Listen.
did they do it?
I'm asking a
Cool.
legitimate question, so
For-
I have a baseline.
No,
for
I'm
you.
giving you the exact same amount. This is how I feel. Asking you a simple question. I asked you a question, and then your
And
answer
every
was
answer I gave, and then you said
wizard
no.
did
So
it.
then I
Sure.
said
no.
But then
no.
I even
said yes. I said I.
but I
literally
went
go, I'm
further
like,
and I
sure.
go, I think that it was purposeful the way that they did it. And you said,
I said sure. I don't like it. The answer sure.
but
Everything
now
I said
I'm
was-
asking what's a baseline because you're constantly complaining about storytelling or plot holes or this, that, or the other. And you said the only thing that you can
Inception
accept
did a pretty good job.
is a wizard did
Inception had a lot of like
Yeah.
so Inception does a when you have like so Inception is a movie based on like
I
or
loved
have you seen The
Inception, by the
Shining?
way.
Have you seen The Shining? Shining has a lot of weird plot holes, but you're like, well, it's expecting me to not know what's real or fake. So it's an easier way to write nonsense like that where you're like, well, is it real? Is it not? So Inception does a when you have a movie where you're like, is this happening? Is this not happening? Easier explanation on
It
things
still
of that
abides by
nature.
the laws that they
right.
wrote.
Those are the rules that they write. You know, so like, the reason why Harry Potter is such a big problem is because like you're like, well, none of this shit makes sense, right? But to watch the movies, you have to kind of suspend your disbelief. This movie, if you want to operate on the same premise, fine. Like I'll concede defeat if you're like, just stop thinking about it, and I'm like, cool, fine. But you're
It's
asking
not about a
question.
real world thing. So yeah, you have to stop thinking about it in real world terms because
That's-
it's something that's
That
made
would
up.
be everything but a documentary.
No. No, they have all kinds of movies that still operate within the physical realm of things that are possible.
Have you ever seen Phone Booth? How does he get all the information about the guy in an age before the internet?
No. Have I seen Phone Booth?
Colin Farrell walks into a phone booth, right? And the guy overhears the conversation. He taps the phone booth, and he's waiting for someone to go in there who's a bad person. Colin Farrell turns out to be that guy. He has all the information about Colin Farrell, even though he didn't know Colin Farrell was going to use that phone booth. That's completely based on
I
reality.
can't-
It's
but-
impossible to
Yeah, but
determine
I
why he has
can't
that
I
information.
can't argue a movie I haven't seen.
That's fair. I'm giving you a general synopsis. Go watch the movie. We'll talk about this next week. Okay,
It's a
like
good movie.
it's a pretty good movie.
Have you seen
um,
Saw?
Yes,
I
the
love
Saw
Saw.
movies are-
I
oh my God.
love Saw.
What an absolute convoluted nonsense mess.
But
The
they're
ori-
so good.
The original Saw. Is
Oh yeah,
what I
the
wanna
original
say.
Saw was fine.
Yeah,
The original Saw
did
It was
was
really good.
self-contained. It's
Yeah.
when it's
Right.
like most like the first Conjuring. It was fine, made sense. Then they were like, "Here's more Conjuring." You're like, "Wait,
Saw
hold
1
up.
through 3 made sense. It
Hold
was
up.
after Saw 3 that it got rough.
Right. So yeah, there's
But
a
anyway,
lot of
hold on.
movies that-
What's the point of asking me that? Have I seen the Yes.
Well, that, I would say that's an
That's a
example.
movie that like was fine. Like the first Conjuring movie was fine. First
Okay.
Annabelle, fine.
Yeah, but okay. So you're still picking movies that don't write any rules.
What?
Hmm?
Your question was
Sorry, I'm
what movie does a good job of storytelling?
from point A to point B. Okay.
Yes.
So
from A
it's
to Z.
Saw. So Saw would be your example.
Yeah. That's
Did
just
you
one example.
like Saw?
I love Saw.
Okay. What about Human Centipede?
Mama made sense.
Did not like Human Centipede.
Mama did
No.
not
From
break any of its
from
own
a story
rules.
perspective,
Right?
though.
No, Mama didn't break any of its own rules from story perspective.
Not Mama. Human Centipede.
Oh,
That's
Velocipaster actually was pretty cohesive. Like
actually, yeah.
you think about
Velocipaster was pretty cohesive.
Killer Couch. If you did, you should
Things
watch
killing.
that. Yeah,
the Ginger Dead
made
Man?
Sense. Like they all were like, hey, here's the rules of this movie. And at no time did I think, man, they're breaking their own rules. I was like, okay, I get it. Once you get once the concept of what you're talking
Except in
about, gets to your
Velocipaster,
grandiose,
the brother was in the backseat of the car that exploded.
that was the best. No. No, he wasn't in the backseat of the car that exploded.
The visual
he was in the
effects fire.
Right, he was in the backseat of the car at a point in which they were all in it. Remember, they're all in the car in that scene.
He let him out for Bible school. He let him out in front of the
Yeah,
church.
this is
I
the
guess
best
we don't know how
Right,
long
we don't know how long it was in
they
there.
were out there.
But yeah,
that's
no,
fine.
see,
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I
Okay,
apologize.
no.
My bad. I didn't mean
I
to
get it.
monopolize, but like everything you're saying, I'm like, yeah, that's the exact thing I'm saying. Like, but I didn't completely ruin the movie for me, so I guess that's my difference. Like, but again, we've talked about like you couldn't stomach Velocipaster for a second because you're
Right.
like, no, like I still think the movie told the story it was trying to tell. Like it was like, here's the story, accept it or not. And I'm like, yeah, it was great. And then afterward, I'm like, still had a bunch of problems with it. Like,
Yeah.
you can get an A on it. You can get a A on a paper and still have notes. Like, your teacher can say, great job. Here's the things you can improve on. You're like, why did I get an A? Well, you got your point across. Here's things that you definitely messed up on, but you did a good job articulating the things that you needed to do to get your A. You solved, you got the list of prerequisites, solved them all. You just had a bunch of holes in your game, but it did exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this did. It was fine. I mean, it
Right.
was score, A1. Sound effects blew my dick off. And I didn't even get to hear it in the atmosphere that he got it to hear it in. Visually, great. I felt how cool the protagonist was when I watched the movie. That was actually one of my biggest problems. I was like, why the fuck is this dude so damn cool? Like, what the fuck going on? Why are they in these giant ass racy boats? What's going on here? Why does how does he, where did he get,
I didn't
how
know
did he
boats
get-
like that existed, by the
how
way.
did he get from point A to point B several times? And then you know what they did in that, there's one thing they did in that Michael Caine scene where I'm like, you should have just done it at the beginning and that would have justified like half of this dumb shit. When he was like, I don't have enough food in my mouth. He was like, here's a blank card. Just save the world and then we'll settle up later. And I'm like, cool. Now I have a reason for him to have fucking an absorbent amount of dumbass money that doesn't make any sense.
He didn't have money until then, though.
Right. How'd he get to the place to say, did the CIA pay for his shit? Did they shit?
No, he went to Brooks Brothers, bought a $300 suit.
How'd he get from the boat? So he went to.
Right, yeah, it just kind of.
There's not enough time in the day to show everything
Yes,
they
there
do.
is.
Yes, you're making
Simple
the
shit.
fucking
Have you ever
movie.
watched a
And the
movie and at the
director's cut,
bottom?
you might
have you
know,
ever
but
watched a
maybe
movie and
not.
at the bottom they simple text 3 years later, simple text Halifax, Nova Scotia, simple text after meanwhile, simple visual cues in a movie.
That's not Nolan's style, and it's corny.
Okay, no, and what do you mean? It gets the
I
point
go
across.
throughout whole parts of my day
But again,
where people
fine.
can't see everything that I'm doing, but I show up somewhere and they just accept that I was somewhere else before I'm at the place that I am now.
Sure, bud.
But you're
That's
not
how
watching,
life works.
Sure, bud.
and you're not being told a story. So to just kind of finish up my point, so I have a really big issue when I can't. So the entire movie from the very beginning, like I said, I was disoriented. So I never got to get immersed into the movie. Like, when you watch the movie, you're in a zone and you forget anything else existing. You're just watching the movie. I never got that zone. The entire time I'm like, I'm watching a movie and I'm also like, I actually got up and took a piss break, and I don't do that in movies. So like, I just didn't care. I just didn't care, unfortunately. And the one time I did care is when that tall glass of fucking water bitch showed up, and I was like, God
What
damn.
a baddie, bro! Like,
Oh
here's a
my
word. She
God,
didn't have
bro.
any like no ass, no titties. That's not
Bro,
fun.
but she was just
like
a
88
tall-
feet tall.
Is
Woo!
she not Sophie Turner?
Who's Sophie Turner?
Sansa Stark.
Who's also a bad bitch, but she's
She
having
don't
to have
look
red
like
hair instead of blonde.
No,
Dark
Red
Phoenix,
hair.
in real
Dark
life,
Phoenix, Dark
in,
Red hair
Phoenix.
gang. Shout out red hair
in
gang.
real life, she has blonde hair.
Oh well, I like it better red. So
Yeah.
No, but that's not
Gang.
the point.
Oh, you
They-
talking about Dark Phoenix chick?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but her with her blonde hair, like her real blonde hair, and that chick,
Look the same.
I thought
I
for a
can
mi-
see the similarity. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I looked at it
yeah,
for a minute and I
yeah.
was like,
I've only ever thought of like Jean Grey or.
wait,
Yeah.
what the fuck? And I'm like, nope, because she seems too poised and she's too tall.
Her legs went on
But
for
she
17
also
days.
wore heels
Mhm.
like the whole movie.
You'd
Love
have to
to see
invert
it.
yourself just to get back up to the top of them
Mm,
legs, bro.
I need it.
Mm.
But so I'm all and listen. I know. Listen, They're gonna be a whole bunch of ladies in my DMs talking about don't go objectify women. But I'm real mad we didn't get a sex scene. I'm real mad. I'm gonna just say that out loud. I'm real mad we didn't get no sex.
I at
scene,
least
'cause
wanted
kinda
her coming out of the water and some
Yeah,
shit.
just I
You
want a
know
little bit of
what?
fan service.
I actually thought the same. Two things, right? First, it's an R-rated movie, right? So, but I kind of looked at it. I think we've officially hit a new realm of movies because if you think about it, how many mainstream movies have nudity in them at all anymore? There's like you used to not be able to go to the fucking movie theater with an R-rated movie on,
Now
and
see
there
a titty,
wasn't
yeah.
tits or ass or bush or
Yeah, shout out Bush though. Real
you
talk.
know, they have to do bush because apparently the front crack is too much for
Yeah, you
people.
don't want to see the meat
You
hurt
can
curtains.
see mangled dick
Front
and
butt.
front butt. Yeah,
Yeah.
the front ass crack. You can see mangled dick and balls on the screen
Yeah.
or
Yeah, shout
you
out
know,
Mr. Manhattan.
whatever.
Dr. Manhattan with the dick piece
Bro,
coming out.
You can see all that shit, but you can't. I'm not saying we need an outie vagina where the beef spilling
I mean,
out.
no, hold on, time out.
No,
all
no, no.
vaginas matter.
Right.
It's all good.
No, but I'm
however
saying-
it come.
Right.
I don't care if you got that Arby's hiding in there. Girl,
Listen,
bring that shit over here. Spread
I-
them layers. I got it.
I got the Arby's sauce for you.
We got the
Anyway,
Sir.
What I'm saying is, I get if they were saying, well, the inside stuff is too nudity for an R-rated movie, but the outside part is just skin. So it
Is that
always
the
made
line?
me. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's
No,
the same
the-
reason why
it's
Ariel
labia.
is for some odd reason
No,
the
it's-
line. Like you can see you see the whole titty, but
But not the
don't you
nipple.
damn where they'll let a fucking labia come out or not labia,
Nipple.
areola.
well,
come
that's
out.
actually the rule for like that kind of shit. You can't show any lips at all. No downstairs lips can be shown, or else it can't be an R-rated
Mound
movie.
is fine though.
Except
Man,
TV.
fucking shout out Margot Robbie then for fucking Wolf of Wall Street. Man, she looks so damn bad. And what?
Is that what?
That's Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
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 You just
You're right.
shouting out random hot bitches?
Yeah. But I'm saying like shout out because like she was like naked. I was like, God
Yeah,
damn.
but that's what I'm saying. So you go to movies even like 3-4 years ago,
Yeah.
and you don't really see an R-rated movie with some of these big people in it without there being. It doesn't necessarily have to be even a sex scene. It was just like nudity in general.
Right. Yeah.
And I've been thinking about it. Like you see a lot of these movies now, and they've really gotten rid of a lot of nudity.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. I'm not like mad or anything about it. Like
Yeah.
I get what you were saying. Like
Right.
whatever. Like you're interested to see what's going on, which is fine.
Yeah.
But
Because I'm a pig.
it's just that's
Yeah.
whatever.
Pig gang.
Yeah. Shout out.
Oink oink. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. I thought it was I always think it's interesting to see because you go from movies being like super prudy, and then you get like things like Piranha 3D,
Oh, it's a circle.
and
Like,
then
now we're back to
and
poop
now
gang.
we're just like, no, we care more about respecting everybody and pews and this and that, and then all of a sudden, 10 years from now, people are gonna be like, movies aren't interesting. Show me titties.
Yeah, I need titties again.
Except
Can't wait for that time.
Except TVMA stuff, they just fucking give you the world.
Is nip and tuck still a thing?
You mean Nip Tuck?
Nip Tuck?
And Nip Tuck has not been a thing
It's
since.
nip X and tuck.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not-
nip line tuck.
Yeah.
So it's nip and tuck. Yeah.
Nip / tuck.
Not.
What?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Rose up.
It's Nip Tuck. It's like Hunter x Hunter. You
Yeah.
don't pronounce the
No, it's Hunter x
character.
Hunter. Yeah. But continue. Nip tuck is not a thing anymore.
It hasn't been a thing since like 2000.
But it was a great show.
Bro, you
It
saw
was a
so
great-
many titties.
It was
bro.
a great show until that last season, and you will not convince me otherwise. The last season of Nip Tuck is absolutely garbage.
You actually watched Nip Tuck from the beginning to the end?
Yeah.
Bro, I was only in there
About
for
the
quick...
time that the whole show became about that dude getting beat up every day because he was fucking the transgendered person, and that was what the whole show turned into. And also Christian was just fucking over the blonde haired girl. Now, when they got it with the celebrities and did the cum lotion, that was a pretty good couple of episodes. Sorry.
I've never seen a single episode of Nip Tuck.
It's just titties.
Got a question real quick.
Yeah, shoot.
What's happened?
We were
has
talking
happened.
about obviously story stuff with Maui over here real quick.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of action films? Because I feel like there's not a lot of action. Like Die Hard doesn't really have.
Wrong.
No, I mean I'm just saying.
Die Hard 1 wrong.
I'm
Why
just
don't you let him
saying
finish what he was
in
about to say
general.
first?
I'm just saying like a movie like Die Hard is
you
just
know
pure
that means
action,
nothing.
right?
He obviously just needs a little bit of information, then he just makes the rest of it up.
That's exactly you're
that's what
proving
I'm
the point.
saying. Yeah,
You're proving
he's
the
just
point.
like, no, I
All
already know the
you
rest of
needed
it.
was the
You
first
said
3
I,
words.
that's
and
it.
you've
I know what you're
already
gonna say.
formed an opinion.
Yep, that's it. That's all I need.
That's good.
Mhm.
That's fine.
So,
that makes me feel
yeah.
For
better.
me, I'm just thinking like when I think of Die Hard, I think of yes, it does have a story, but I'm saying in my eyes, I'm like it's action, crazy.
Pew, pew,
Yeah,
power,
There's a lot
things
of
happen.
there, yeah, sorta, yeah, but there's a lot of other movies like that too. You know,
Right.
that just action movies in general, plane explodes, dudes flying out the thing.
Right, but
the
did you
Mission
expect
Impossible
this to be
movies.
a Mission Impossible
No,
style
no,
movie?
no. I'm just this. I'm not talking about Tenet in general now, and I'm just trying to now just be like,
Right.
what's an action movie that one, if you do like action movies like crazy over the top, Terminator, machine gun flailing shit.
Mhm.
What's one that has a story that you would be like, that's a good ass story, but it's also just pew pew blow up shit action.
So I think at one point I might have, but as time has gone on, I've figured it like I just don't want my time wasted. Like I just don't want I don't want just fluff, right? So it's kind of like getting like, imagine like being butt naked and like rock hard, and some chick's like, yo, I'm about to fuck the shit out of you, and you're like, all right, bet, let's go. And then like all she does is like spit on your dick and jerk you off a little bit, and then like you bust a nut, you're like, all right, cool, but like that's a waste of my time. I could have just done it myself or done something completely different. Like why am I here for that? So I don't want to. So I don't want to watch a movie and just be like, hey, look at all this razzle dazzle. Look at all like Michael Bay films. Like I don't want to just be like Michael Bay, and I'm like, yeah, that's not me. So I need a story. I need it to make sense.
I know.
See,
but,
that's the one time.
but no. But
Michael Bay movies are.
that's
like,
what I
when
get.
watch
I
them,
get
like,
all
you
that
don't like
based on what you're
movies.
saying.
No, he says he
No,
doesn't
no.
like
I get all that. I'm
No,
trying
you,
to.
you see the whole generality thing that you're doing?
No.
again?
I'm
I
asking.
love that so much.
I'm asking, what's an action movie with story that you do like? That's all I'm asking.
Got it. Yeah. So I was gonna say like at one point I did a lot of the action movies that I watch now. First off, I should probably say I don't watch a lot of movies for this exact reason. I feel like
I just said
Again-
that and you yelled at me.
Yeah, but you assumed. You didn't let him say it.
yeah, you know,
No.
yeah. And you all said I don't like movies. I said I don't watch.
I said
a lot of
really like movies, not you
movies.
hate them all.
Nope. I really enjoy the movies I like watching.
Those 6. Got it.
Sure. So
Big Hero 6, you do like that.
they fantastic film.
Because it's animated.
Sure. Oh, maybe the story was really well done.
No, you said you don't like live action shit. We've already been through this. You automatically go in not liking it. You said that yourself. That's a Maui quote, not a Xavier.
You
I
did
like
actually
how
say
you
that.
say. I like
I mean,
how you
but
say
did actually
things.
say that.
And again, you take one thing and you just generalize it out for everything.
You said I
and
don't
there's
like
no
live
shut
action.
Right. So
up.
what he's saying is
You
let him,
generalized
let him have
everything.
nuance. I'm saying like if he
Yes.
if he says a phrase, don't immediately go. But
Blanket.
you said you
And
go.
you know what? For me,
"Oh,
that makes
let
way
me
more
listen
sense now with
and
like
figure out
knowing
what he-
you.
Yeah.
Knowing
Over
that.
time, opinions change or they get more nuanced. What he's saying is, I go into real life movies with this opinion, but and you're like, no, smack. I
Yeah.
don't need that butt. Get that butt out of my
Yeah.
face.
No. You said you don't like no movies.
14
No,
years
you
ago,
said I don't like
you
live
said you
action
don't like
movies.
cucumber.
So every time you shit on stuff and
I
then
don't
try
like
to
real
defend it,
things. Yeah.
I forget that you said that. So you do already, whether it's a conscious or unconscious bias when you go into it, if you already know that you don't like live action stuff,
Mhm.
and I constantly forget that when we start to talk about live action stuff, and then you shit all over it because you typically don't fuck with it,
Except for
it's
the
going
10,
to be
Except
harder.
for the 10 that he gave Umbrella Academy
Yes.
season 2.
Yeah.
I am saying typically. I've
Right,
said
but
the
you see
word.
the problem with
No. But Umbrella Academy was
Again,
his idea, though.
generalizing.
I don't like real life things.
No,
Yeah.
I think what it is now, and this is what now that I know this was what because of the way you need a story fleshed out, movies just don't work for you as a media at all.
Not necessarily at all. That's not true.
That's a little.
No. I like a story that's well told.
See, that's what I was
want.
saying, Jamie, just so you know. That was my point.
No,
Like, I feel
he's
like- I
also
feel like-
making
No.
an assumption.
I'm saying I feel like
I get
you
what they're
almost
saying,
need a
though. I
TV
do what
show.
they're-
what
You
they're saying
almost
is that-
need it in a TV show format with multiple episodes, or not even. I feel like you would need a movie to be like 5 to 6 hours long almost every time for
How
you
long
to
is
get
Troy?
Like
like
4
4
hours.
hours long,
Like 3
maybe.
hours
Okay.
long.
How
That's a-
long? How long is 300?
About
Like
hour and a half?
3.
Yeah.
No.
No,
2
that one
hours?
that's like 2.5 hours.
It's,
Yeah.
it's 2.5,
Yeah.
upwards of 3.
But there's
So-
also like a couple of 300s too. Are you talking about just
No.
the
Also, the
original?
original 300.
Tenet was 2.5 hours. so-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 2.5
Yeah.
hours.
But it still didn't get the point across.
Right.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I feel like you need more time for something to get its point across.
Not really. It just depends on how you tell the story, right? So like Tenet, there's a lot of things they could have done, I think, relatively simply to be able to make like all these things that I'm having issues with make sense. And it's just like
Have them stumble across Tenet. I know that sounds stupid, but just spitballing. I know that I'm sorry to interrupt
Right,
you.
yeah. I know you're
Something
good.
as simple as like the Opera House was a mission, right?
Yeah.
He accidentally found the algorithm. Someone goes, "You shouldn't have seen that," and then he does some stupid thing where he saves the guy. That is the test. Cool. That fucking easy.
right.
And it took me 2 seconds to go. If that happened, I'd be like, okay, cool. He's just a guy in the right place, wrong time. and we in that bitch.
But then would it have made sense when you found out that he was his own boss
yes,
later on?
if Neil had been the guy, because we've
Not
already
if Neil,
explained. Hold on,
if
hold on.
he,
What I'm
if
saying,
the protagonist was still the protagonist,
yes,
that wouldn't have
the reason why I'm
mattered.
saying it's fine because if you're already operating on the premise that none of the shit matters because whatever happens happens,
Right.
the easiest way for you to justify that is he's like, well, why were you at the end of the movie? He'd have gone, why were you there? He goes, you sent me, and he's like, wah, 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 and then like, cool, fine. It was just an easier roundabout, like saying like, here's the car keys to my car. All right, how'd you crash my car? You gave me the car keys. Oh. But what if he's like, my keys are still in my pocket? Yeah, the future you gave them to me. But why do I still have them? Time. But he was like, you gave them to this guy, and this guy gave it to me. Crash your car. It took me 2 seconds to go. If he stumbled upon the algorithm, saved Neil, or Neil had the algorithm, right? And he's like, no, you couldn't have seen this. And then he's like, okay. And he's like, I'm going to have to shoot this guy. And then the guy comes to shoot Neil. He shoots that guy. Neil's like, it could even have been a part of the plan. That simply stating an objective and then following through all somebody needs. That took me 2 seconds, and I'm fine with that. I know that sounds dumb, but I'm fine with going, hey, there's a reason why he's here now. Now take me away. Why is he in this lighthouse? Oh, you have to wait. You have to wait in this lighthouse because a boat's going to come and get you.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it took 2 seconds.
Right. And I would even say like another movie that does something similar, not at all, but like you guys seen Looper?
Yeah.
So I think Looper did a fantastic job.
It
Now, I
threw
haven't seen
you
Looper in a long time.
but yeah, threw you in the beginning.
Right.
You're like, what's going on?
Right.
And then it came back to the point.
Right. And you're like, bam.
Yeah,
Boom.
cool.
Yeah.
We good.
And it all makes sense.
Right. And it was like, well, we have this job. You're the guy who does this job, and this is why. He's like, oh, I never knew why. Well, yeah, now you know. Oh, cool. How
Yeah.
hard is that? Now, you can say, I don't like that because it's too simple,
Right.
but there's still so many implications with in the future, how did the technology get there? How did the first guy come back? You can still ask nuanced questions
Right.
of a show, even with a simple premise.
Right.
You know how much lore is created off of something as stupid as like, oh man, we know Kylo Ren's cousin from the 5th casino turns out to be the guy that gives Obi-Wan the lightsaber in the okay, but why was he there originally? Why does it matter? All you have to do is answer those 2 questions.
Right.
Why do I care? What's the point of this?
Mhm.
I gave you 2 simple fixes.
Right.
Found the briefcase, algorithm was in it. Instead of killing him, thought he'd be useful. Finds out at the end, he actually sent Neil back to give him the briefcase. Still the exact same thing that happened. Better explanation. Hey, wait at this lighthouse. Cool. 2 plot points. Hey, you have to go to this guy to get to the top floor to find out what this armed duel is. Oh, you already know? You already met this. You already know this guy's going to come and talk to you. Why did he have to go through all this? Oh, to make sure he can do it? Fine. Tell him that. Say, you
Also,
had to do all
What
this
if
shit.
Nolan
at the
just
very end-
wanted you to like? He's like, you know what?
No, that's bullshit.
No.
Because even in
Sure,
the very end.
Sure is what
But
you
I'm
do. No. What I'm saying is sure because you're giving him an easy out.
No,
That's
no.
what-
I'm not
No,
saying
no,
that's
but
the
I'm
answer.
saying-
I'm saying, but what if?
No. By saying what if, and then you filling in this job for him.
Mhm.
All you've done is say
D-Mark doesn't want to have to assume anything watching the movie.
no.
But I'm saying that could
no,
be
no.
part. That could be part of a media,
Okay,
though.
I'm gonna stop talking
So-
because you're doing the exact same thing. You don't put words in my mouth. I have no problem interpreting. I have no problem assuming. I have no problem filling in gaps. All I'm asking is I have no problem being left on a cliffhanger. Like if
Right.
one of
Because
my
Inception
favorite,
did that. Inception did that.
at
like,
the end,
the
and
giant
it,
part
cool,
of the
and
movie.
it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because you watch at the end and you're like, ooh, what happened? All the possibilities. That's great. They left you with the question that you get to now ponder. That's different than
Right.
saying
But you keep getting upset about the light. How hard is it to just be like, he was told to go to the lighthouse?
now.
So hold on,
That's the-
real quick. So let me
okay.
just ask this question because it's even right now still bothers me. So remember in the end scene where the guy comes up and he's just like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here. I thought you left, whatever." And it was like, "Yeah, but like he should already known that that's an improbability because like you just said, things happen. So how does she appear when they had the giant fight? Where was his original body?
Hold on, I need.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
that
I
was like,
need-
that's
no,
what
no.
I was saying. That's what I was
I
saying.
don't
That he
under-
was like, that's fine. No, what I'm saying is,
Hold on. What was he? Hold on.
Sorry.
What are you?
I don't
saying?
understand what you're talking
So
about.
in the end, the money scene, right? They're on the boat, and he comes back on the boat, the Russian guy,
Yeah.
and then what's her face? Who's the blonde baddie?
Cat.
Is that name Cat? So Cat shows up, right? And he's like, "Hey, I thought you were gonna be like on the shore with our son." And then she was like, "Nah, I decided that."
remember, he would have already known she was there.
Exactly.
That was my problem.
Yeah, exactly.
He went back to that day.
Right. And where was he
remember-
originally?
No, he was in a helicopter. That remember?
Oh, I tried
he
to
was in a
explain that,
helicopter.
but nobody
Yeah.
wanted
No.
to.
All right, explain it to me. Go ahead.
She does.
No, no,
she
no, no.
does say
No,
why
it's-
she's there.
Right. Now, hold on.
Right,
I'll tell
but,
you
like,
exactly
he
why
should have
this is-
known that
I'm
something's
gonna
not
tell you
right
why this is a
immediately.
problem. What I'm
right.
saying is, he dies at that point.
Right.
How would he have known to go back to the day he died because it was a good day? He's dead.
But the reason they give you in the movie, and hold on, I already said
No,
this,
go ahead.
was because everything, and that's the problem because you keep getting mad at me for going back to it's happened, it's already happened. Here's what could have happened.
No,
Like,
no,
legit-
no. The reason why I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm gonna let you finish. What I'm saying is, he died on that day.
He does
Right.
die on that day.
Even
but
on the
even
first
if he
time-
didn't
but he
originally,
continued. Every single loop
no,
he
he
would have
may
been in.
not have originally died.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Thank
That's
you.
the whole point
Thank
of
you.
the movie when
Thank
they
you.
talk about that shit.
All right,
It's
so
a paradox.
What you're saying is, nothing in the movie matters because anything could happen. So every answer is it doesn't matter.
already
technicality,
said that.
Yes.
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 But I already said that like
Right,
an
but
hour
that's
ago.
what I'm saying.
What
is the
I'm saying is,
problem.
you're justifying this doesn't matter by it doesn't matter. And what we're saying is that's a waste of movie. And you're
This
saying
movie
no,
is like
you enjoyed
one
the adventure.
It
And I'm
timeline
saying
of
it,
multiple
right,
ways.
It
the movie
which
can't
is
be
fine.
a waste
Which is
if you
fine.
go and hold on.
because it's still
But
again.
here's
It's why
the-
the reason there's a difference why I like the movie and you probably didn't. I'm fine with I'm fine if you go, hey, this is a dream. And I'm like, okay,
That's
It's
some
like,
bullshit,
But
but
you go,
alright.
but you gonna watch the whole thing. Oh, cool. You know what? Fuck it. Thanks for telling me at the beginning that this is a dream. I know what I'm getting. If I watch a whole thing and at the end they're like, nigga, that ain't happened. I'm mad now. So if at the beginning, literally, if I watch a movie and it immediately, I'm like, hold on. But you know what? Hey, maybe he's gonna get to it. I am fine with mystery. I'm fine with even at the end, Christopher Nolan.
But
came
you're
up
not
with-
even sure when he comes back on the helicopter if it's the same him that was on the boat in the first place. It could have been a completely different him that left and
It
did
always
something
is.
different.
It always is if you think about it. What I'm saying is,
No. He could have left on the helicopter
Yes.
and then he could have intercepted. Like he had that knowledge, so he went back because that was his good day, and so the new him came back, even though the old
He
him
would've
was
died.
still out doing shit.
the first one died.
No,
The first guy in this loop would have died.
no, the second guy would have. That's what I'm saying. Like you're not.
No, he eventually. He leaves
no.
on a
Okay, so
helicopter.
hold on. You have a boat. We agree. There's a boat.
There's a boat. That's the only constant
Right.
in this entire thing. is
There's
that
a
there's
lot
a
of
boat.
there's a lot of boats in this movie.
There's
But
some
then
good
you
boats.
have tall lady and her kid go back to shore.
Yes,
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
yes. He leaves on a helicopter.
Yes.
But hold on. The reason why I'm sorry. I'm gonna set this up. He comes back
Well,
to
no,
die. No, he comes back because hold on.
no. Let me
No,
finish.
first time. Hold on.
Hold
let me
on,
give you this.
hold on.
Sorry, I
You
apologize.
asked,
You're right.
I'm-
You're right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So
Just
then
hold on to it. You got it.
he was gone on a helicopter when new old girl came back. Scarred bitch. Right?
Just to see him.
Yeah.
To see him, even though he wasn't there, which means she should have known that, but she didn't because she was on that boat. So she came back and she was scarred.
But she knew
Hold
that
on.
it happened. Okay.
No. But she didn't know that he had even left the boat.
No, right. That's not the important part.
No, that
When-
is because then when he
How
left,
would
was
she
there-
not know?
No.
because they'd already gone to shore.
He left first.
Right.
Remember, they left. She saw him leave.
That
She saw
timeline
them-
actually doesn't. Hold on, but that timeline actually doesn't. That sequence of
She saw
events doesn't
herself
matter.
leave.
No, she saw somebody jump. Right.
No.
That's
right.
how you know.
Her-
But that's
scarred
a
her,
loop.
Saw her leave.
Yes.
So she knows that he left first
Okay, so he left first.
in the
Doesn't-
past.
Right, but who that literally doesn't matter
It
for
does,
my
but I-
explanation. No, that version of him leaves. We'll call that a version. We won't call that
Okay,
the
hold on.
inversion.
So real quick for summation, we got boat.
We have
A,
boat.
Boat A. Boat X because that boat's always gonna be
The
there.
boat never changed.
Boat brick. All right, so we got the brick. We got Cat 1, Satyr 1.
Yes.
'Kay.
Stater one vrooms off in an airplane.
Got it. So he's over here.
Cat and son go to shore.
'Kay.
Okay. We don't know if that satyr actually technically returned, quote unquote. We don't know.
Not the important part.
No, that is the important part because then we're saying that he's already dead. But we don't know if Satyr
No, not
B.
that Satyr. Not this Satyr. Satyr A is technically Satyr A eventually dies. The Satyr who leaves the boat is the precursor to the one who always dies. The
Yes,
only
but
reason
that
why the
means
one who would
whole thing goes through still. That same loop happened.
for he wouldn't have come back to redo the day that he and the one who was scarred had if he didn't.
Satyr A doesn't know that's the day that he died. He's choosing that as the day
Remember,
he
her
wants to
memories-
die.
Okay, you're fine. Sure. I'm assuming that the memories that they shared there were the ones after. Fine.
But that is an assumption. You don't actually know. It could have been the
Fine.
scarred one.
Sure.
It could have been because it's the same scene on the top boat deck. That top boat deck, when he asked that question, was the girl who went back to the shore because that was before. Because then when she sees him, he's like, it was a stupid thing. I shouldn't have even asked it. I'm sorry. That interaction didn't happen with Cat A. That happened with Cat B.
No, that interaction.
No. Cat B was the one where he apologized.
true.
Cat A
That is true.
was the one
She was still
where
on shore with
Right.
the kid.
was where he had said, hey, do you want to do this? And then he was disgusted and then they both left. So Cat B is the one who had that conversation with him. So they didn't ever show that interaction. The only interaction they showed was him staring at her after supposedly asking the question of, if I set you free, you can never see your son again. That's the only interaction they showed. So we have no idea at that point. That's still the guy that we've seen the entire movie. So he's going back to that day. So when she said, I saw that girl jump off the boat, that just reinforces there, once it's happened, it's happened. So it's saying because Satyr eventually went through the entire timeline and he came back to the boat and she came back to the boat, that event still happened. But A, who never came back because she was on the boat,
Technically, yeah, because if you think about it,
She doesn't have
jumped
that
off
memory.
she saw the picture.
Right.
she saw her
the
jump
girl
off.
jump off the boat. So that means
Right.
that scene
Correct.
happened,
Is-
right?
But she
is
has
what I'm
no
saying.
idea.
Satyr's
What I'm
still
saying is-
alive after that moment happened because
Right, because that was A and B. No, I'm not saying they were the same ones. I already
Also, why
know
did
that
neither
A-
of
But
them
then
have
that
oxygen
answers-
masks?
because
they're-
they went back in time. So that's actually one of the problems I have. Because
Yeah.
that means they both went. They both. So I the one thing where I'm like, okay, cool. He doesn't give you exact dates because that technically that means they both went back before the day, then came back. That's why they didn't have. Because remember, he says like that's why they went. That's why they took
That's when
her
they went
to
back
the
in
past.
the first place
Right.
because
Yeah, they took her to the past so they could turn it back around and then go through real time
correct.
back to the point that they were. So that's why they didn't have an oxygen mask because they had inverted. Like let's say that was
they
Monday.
reverted.
Yeah, let's say that was Monday, and they were on Friday. They turned around, went to Sunday, turned
Waited
back
till-
around, and then waited till Monday. That's why they didn't
Yes.
have oxygen masks.
They
But-
reverted.
But then but
They
then
did it
you
throughout
see,
the whole movie.
But then you see two people.
Yeah, they already
Yeah.
talked about how you're in the same timeline. You
Right,
just can't
they're
touch
still
yourself.
right. Remember that's why he fought himself and he had to wear the stuff on. That's another problem I have because
You
I'm
don't have
understanding
to
you
be
didn't get any
inverted
blood.
to
Right. Yeah,
To
you can
see
still
yourself.
interact
Just
with
at
yourself.
no point you
You only-
cannot touch yourself. Was the only
Which is
rule.
kind of stupid, right? Because that's another big problem.
I
If
think
you
you
could
can
just
o- I-
technically you could technically exist 50 that brings up other problems, but I'm not thinking about that.
But then
That's
at that
right.
point, you're saying that two people, the same person
Yes.
can exist in the
in
same,
the same
timeline twice.
Right.
But they said that can't happen because both of you guys
No,
have
they're
to
saying
enter.
they can't. Agreed. Right. You can't.
Hold up, did
agreed.
they give me a second? Did they say
They said you can't exist in your own same timeline. So like you shouldn't be
Right.
able to
but
revert.
was it only in the inverted? I thought she said
In
you
the
only can't
inverted
touch
timeline,
yourself.
you can't touch because matter and antimatter.
Yes.
But they said you shouldn't be able to revert and exist in the same space.
Right, because you have to go
But
to the.
you can because they're that's another problem.
They
It's like,
can, but they do. I don't remember them saying you
they
can't.
said you can't.
I don't
They
remember
said
saying.
you
I
can't
don't
exist
remember that.
forward.
I don't remember that.
Like,
either.
you
Well-
said but and again, that would be even. But again, yeah, that brings up other issues.
But
because-
how does my explanation right there not solve a big problem that you had? To
because
say that the one that died isn't the same one. Like he didn't know that was he didn't know he got shot in the
Because
head. That was he
the
hadn't
people from
had
the
those
future
memories
just
yet.
warned him that was going to happen. Is one of my biggest problems.
But how? How?
What do you?
No, I'm asking.
If they find out that Satyr's dead in the future, from the past, it's already happened. But they can just not have that.
but they
happen.
need him to die so that they can have what they want. So why would they say anything?
Who?
Right. That's the whole point. They're trying to change.
No, they need the who? They need the algorithm complete.
Right.
So if he okay,
He has the entire algorithm when he
died-
goes back to the boat, and when he dies, it triggers the algorithm.
but they would have known it didn't trigger when nothing changed. Maybe.
But that's the whole. That was the point, though, is that they
Sure.
went back to stop that, which closes one loop but opens another one.
Sure. What I'm saying. All right. Okay. Fine.
Well, you're getting irritated, but you've asked me, and I gave a coherent answer. I didn't
Right.
say
I didn't.
what has
none
happened.
of what you've said is anything.
but
other
your
than,
face is like that's. I mean, that's
hey,
dumb.
you can't just because I think it's not a good explanation. So you can take an explanation and say, hey, this explains that. No, it still leaves up a bunch of fucking other plot holes. But you're like, my entire problem is with the concept in general. But
Right.
you're like, here's this one issue. Okay, that could be right. Here's the biggest problem is could be right. You're not saying this is what happened. You're saying it's what could. Sure, every possibility is fine,
And it's your job as
and
a
it's your job
director
as a
or
but,
the
I
storyteller.
think
it's
he
also
did
our
that
job as
all-
an audience to interpret it. How
But I
we
think he
interpret.
did that. I'm saying,
No,
I
what
think
I'm saying
he
is like,
purposefully.
how different we
So-
can get.
Hold on.
So you can't. So it's they can't only touch if they're inverted. It says, however, though, if they're both forward-moving versions of themselves, which they're in the same
Right,
timeline
yeah.
moving forward, they're safe. That's literally what it says.
That brings up
So-
so many more.
But here's the wiki
Right.
that you asked for.
God, that brings up.
Well, not only that, but
Okay,
then does
but
that
still-
mean that there's two of the bitch that's existing at the same timeline at all times now? Because what?
No.
No.
There. Yes.
What do you mean no?
Yes,
Yeah,
because
absolutely is
right,
yes.
because you can't go. Yes,
Yeah.
because if she's already in that timeline, yeah, there
Yeah.
would because she's not going to disappear
everything
from the
is mirrored,
timeline.
right?
It's
Yeah.
right. Well, you're right because it's not linear. So technically, yeah, there are two versions of her that technically exist at the same time because you can't travel forward.
Yeah, you
Right.
can.
No, you
What?
can't travel forward.
No,
Like,
time
to the
has to
future?
still
Right.
pass
Yeah, you have to exist
Yeah,
in the
time
time,
is
real
still-
time. So
Right.
there are two
minutes.
versions of her
now.
now.
But the scarred one, yeah, but the scarred one doesn't.
Right. So
What?
how is she like?
No, they're both.
Who's picking
existing.
up? Who's picking up kid from school?
Right.
Which one?
Yeah, and which kid now? Because
And
there's
which
two
kid
kids
now?
at,
'Cause
at
no,
that
no,
logic.
no, because he didn't go through the loop.
The scarred one
The scarred one
is
only
the
did.
one who is watching out
Oh, true.
for
Yeah,
the.
yeah, yeah.
If you like watch the end of it, the scarred one is the one that calls, but she's not the one with the kid
Also,
because she was supposed to call
they just
posterity.
but they also keep saying you can't think of time as
Look-
like linear. So if it says think of time as location or think of the inverted time as locations
But they're
on a
still in
map.
the same spot though.
But so if you move to a different location
No, bro.
and it's a different
No.
inverted time,
no. You're
then
not
they're
gonna
not
get
in the
that
same
one.
timeline.
What I'm saying is that they literally existed at the same time,
Yeah.
and you can't go forward. So she's still in that timeline at the exact same time with the other version of her. Which again,
Right,
fine.
because she saw herself.
She saw herself. Fine. Like she didn't She didn't.
And then how did? Bro, I'm telling you, it doesn't
no,
make any
but that's
sense.
a different. See,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more willing to. So something like that is kind of. I know that's super weird to say because all of this other stuff is making me mad. But fine, like I'm going on the like fine. Christopher Nolan's like just again.
Yeah, just shut the fuck up.
Just shut the
Yeah.
fuck up and watch the
Get
movie.
the fuck and watch this.
You keep giving me explanations to justify plot holes that create more plot holes, which is fine,
Right.
or plot contrivances. Remember, we agreed they're not holes. They're
you can move
contrivances.
forward through time. It literally says
no,
right.
you cannot
can't-
time
that's
travel.
what they say. Hold
you
on.
can't be in 1991 and snap your fingers and be in 95. That's not how that machine works.
But
You
if
still
hold
go
on. Where are you? If you don't mind,
hold up,
where
let
are
me-
you getting
let me
this
see this
information
real
from?
quick.
Because if so,
It says-
that
it
breaks
says-
more of the movie. If you're able to travel to some
Give me
specific
a
points
second.
and invert, that
going
that literally
forward in
ruins
time
the
and
point.
jumping in time are not
Right.
the same thing.
What I'm saying is that ruins the whole point of the movie.
Right.
Well,
And
if you
then
can
also-
time
Why would the
jump-
future people
Right. If
just
you can
not
time
come
jump,
back to
then if they say that you can time
It
jump, I will
ruins the
stop
entire
talking
movie.
now. Then the movie was literally the
nonsense?
dumbest thing ever. But I really,
But,
truly
right.
believe that
See,
Christopher
I was fine
Nolan
with the
did the
inversion
movie.
thing. The reason why I was fine with the inversion thing because I'm like, cool, like it allows you to not have to play with the fast and loose concepts of time travel. Like saying like, no, you can go backward, but in real time. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That's fine because that leaves a, it just
The new element.
it's a new element, and I'm fine with that because like it prevents the grandfather paradox. Because technically, if you waited all that time, I mean, you probably
It
die.
kind of
before you
doesn't though
got
because
back.
it's a paradox, right? So you can't answer it. They even say that in the movie.
Well, you
like
could.
you can't.
No, no. You could. They're choosing not to. They could just go and shoot the grandfather and then be like, oh, but you had to. I'm fine with the parallel universe theory. Like, if you go back in time, shoot your grandfather, there's a universe in which your grandfather exists and the universe in which you exist that where you shot your grandfather. That's the only way that you can. That's fine.
Right.
I'm fine with that. But if it says that you can go forward and if you can time hop and time invert, this movie is definitely garbage. But
Oh no, hold up. So you guys are right, actually.
yeah, you shouldn't
it is.
be able
It
to.
is two cats living in the same timeline.
I
And the-
know.
and
we
the
said,
cat-
I said that.
Yeah.
I already.
Yep. Okay. But and the cat who has the phone, who was given the
Is
phone,
the
It's the one with
scarred one.
scar. Yeah.
is the one who calls him at the end.
Yes.
That's picking up the kid.
Right. We know that.
That's what I said.
Because the other
Yeah.
cat
Well, that heard him
wouldn't
say
have
something
gone
about
through the
which
time.
one's picking up
Right,
the
no,
kid.
but I was saying it's funnier because like technically no, what I'm saying is like who's picking up the kid, not as in like who's picking up the kid in the scene, as in what is this other scarred cat doing now?
Right.
Because she can't live her own life anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Because
but she takes solace in the fact knowing that her son gets to be with the mom.
sure, if you want to
What?
infer it that way. Right.
That's what
sure.
that's what's happening. There's no way it doesn't
But you
happen.
got to think about this though. The scarred cat would be the cat who's chilling with the kid. The one without the scar wouldn't have gone and do all the things to get the scar yet.
Right.
The scarred cat would have to be the one with the kid. The one without the scar would have to be back in time, because at some point she has to
The
go
one
and get the scar.
without-
You know what I'm saying? At some point,
I love it.
she has to go back and get the scar to be the scarred one. And the only reason old dude's dead and she can now be a mom is the scarred version of her. So their
So it
existing
says
time.
the movie is essentially one giant big closed loop.
Right. And I'm saying, like, that's the end of that timeline. And we're in a new timeline that still
But
doesn't
if
make
it's
any
a closed-
fucking sense.
But if it's
No,
a
it's
closed
not a
loop,
closed
that,
loop.
It
That's
can't
what
be.
it
can't be.
it's-
It
can't
can't
be
be
close. We
because
have two
there's
people.
two cats and one cat. The
You
cat
can't
without
close
a scar.
it unless she killed her.
The cat without a
previous
scar
cat.
shouldn't exist in the world where she does exist, because she has to get the scar to kill old dude so she can have her kid and
That's
drop
why
him
I
off
said
at
you have to
school.
think of it as a globe where everything can happen simultaneously and not happen at
again,
the same
all
time.
I'm saying, man, we're going around. In
And I
circles.
got
I'm
another
saying-
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, are you telling me there was 3 of the black dude that existed at
Yeah.
once?
Oh yeah, technically, because remember in that scene,
Because
so
he was a guy, right, fighting, and then two of them came out because one attacked Robert Pattinson and one attacked him, and the one that attacked Robert Pattinson got off, which was him. But who was he fighting?
No, there was just 2. There wasn't 3.
no, yeah,
No,
no, he's
total-
right.
there
He's
was
right.
3.
because there was the one running through the turnstile,
The one that he was
the
fighting,
one he was fighting,
and then himself.
So there were 3 of them at one time.
Get the fuck out of here! That
Yeah.
movie was bullshit.
But
Hold
that
on,
one
stop,
was
stop.
running. But that one was running forward after the inversion. So there's 2 inversions in that scene. One where he inverts backward. That's
But
the
there was
2.
only 2 in the.
There was
the-
3. He chased himself.
right, and one
so,
ran
sorry,
off.
Sorry, Robert Pattinson chased him going forward after the second inversion. That's 1. Then he fought himself at the same exact time, because that was
He
the
fought
first
him,
one.
He fought himself before Robert Pattinson chased
Same
him.
time. Same time.
It's
It
all the
has to
same
be
time.
same thing.
Right. it
No,
was the same
Robert
time.
Pattinson chased him last. He fought him.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
It happened in a different.
Think
it happened,
about it.
Remember, they use red to show the present. They use, blue to show the present.
Oh,
They
we're
use
talking.
red to
Hold
show
on.
the past.
We're talking about 2 different
Scenes. Yeah.
scenes.
Talking about So
Are you talking about the airplane crash scene?
yes. Remember, we're technically
first-
we're talking about the same scene.
Right, it's the same
Technically,
scene.
It's the
So
same
remember
scene.
when the scene happened, the thing turned,
So
and 2 guys
remember,
jumped out.
Right. So the red and on the one side of glass, it's red. That shows you inverted time. Blue shows you current
No,
time.
neither one of them. They both went through the separate doors, so that was still
No. He went through a turnstile. I saw it happen, bro. I saw it
no.
happen.
When he
He
came,
came
back,
out of the turnstile.
He came out of
2
turnstile,
people came out of the
sprinting.
turnstile.
No, right. Because remember the way that the turnstile works. When it turns and you come out, you'll see that exact time frame. That's why when he
No,
came
I
out,
understand. I understand what
right.
you're saying.
So when he came out of the turnstile and saw himself,
And
going
neither of them
into
had
the
gas
turnstile-
masks.
No, he did. That's the
Had the
Which
whole-
one?
they had the whole map.
No, because remember he didn't need it. All right, so there's 2 inversions in this scene. There's the inversion. There's him already backward. That's one inversion, right? Because he had the gas mask when he went into the building, right? When he fought himself was not wearing anything, like because he was his regular self. The second inversion was where he went into the thing, turned around, then sprinted out to get back. Because they had
No,
to,
he
now
was
they were he was reinverted. There were 3 of him,
Right,
because there were 2 inversions.
right.
They came in inverted.
Yeah, right. Because it was
Left
one each side.
revert.
One was fighting, one
That's
ran
what,
off.
hold on. That's what I'm saying. That's why there wasn't. So you have you have the room. You have one room,
Happened at the same time.
2 doors right here. The very first. No, I'm talking about the first time we encountered this
There
entire
was
thing.
3 of them.
You have Robert Pattinson on the right. You have protagonist on the left. Neither one of them. What did you say?
We're letting you get there.
When you get there.
Yeah, no, hold on.
No.
Finish
Real
explaining
quick.
the scene.
Sure, no, real quick. Count off the people as you're going.
I'm counting off right now. I'm starting at 1 and 1.
Right,
Right,
so
so
hold on.
it's protagonist
There's-
and Robert Pattinson.
Protagonist goes through the left-hand door.
Yeah,
Right-hand door
as Robert Pattinson.
is Robert Pattinson. They're
Uh-huh.
both on different sides of the glass. Nobody's
cool.
inverted
Uh-huh.
anything.
no, they're still in the same timeline.
They're
Yes.
both in the same timeline.
Cool, cool, cool.
And then he sees the bullets in the glass, and
Yes.
he's like, "Oh shit, something's gonna happen."
Uh-huh.
And then both of the
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah,
the
keep going.
fucking
Turnstiles. Just say turnstiles.
That's what they're called, turnstiles.
is it a turnstile?
Yeah, that's what they're called. So
So
both
then
of
you see the dude come out, and he starts fucking. You see 2 people.
Oh!
But no,
yeah, you saw 2 people run out because one's inverted, the other one's not. There's 2
He starts
inversions in this.
fighting. Hold on. He starts
Yeah, let them
fighting
get
on
there.
the left-hand side.
Yes, the right
Before-
hand
Himself.
But he
No,
starts.
same time. They both run out at the same time.
Mhm,
One's
right.
forward. Robert Pattinson chases that one.
Yep.
He fights himself, who's still inverted. There's 4 people in the scene. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You love to
There's
see
3 of him. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Just say hey, this is the dub I need. Give
but
it
they're
to
not
me.
in the same timeline.
They are in the same timeline.
No,
That's
one
why
is
Robert
one
Pat-
is inverted. One and two,
two
of them
are
are
invented.
forward.
Two
One's
of them,
inverted.
Or sorry,
One's
is
inverted. Two are fine.
it. Oh no, hold on.
So
you're
it
talking
creates
people that
the
came
same
out,
problem, right?
But the person, remember,
No,
he was already
there's
there.
two.
to
There's
begin with.
two. Right.
But there's only
There's-
2 in the same universe.
There's
Is what I'm
one
saying.
inverted. 2. Sorry, 1 inverted.
2
two uninverted.
regular.
But they still.
Which technically fucks everything up because
Yeah.
one of them runs into become inverted. Yeah,
Right.
It's a mess. It's a timeline mess. Thank you. There's 4 of them in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 in the scene, 2 in the same universe, 1 in the not.
But they're all in the same
They're all
scene.
They're in the
interacting
same
at the
scene.
same time.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. We were talking about 3 in the same universe. Like 3 in the
No,
same.
no.
That's what I thought you were saying. I thought you were saying
Oh.
there were 3 going forward.
Hold up.
And I'm like,
I
no,
was gonna
there's
say
only
there's-
2
But it's
going
still
forward.
3 of the same
still 3 of the
person.
same
that do
Yeah,
the same
because
thing
you're
at the same
because
time.
you're watching 2 different versions of the same person. They're not all 3 in the same universe. That's all I was saying. I
But
thought
they-
you were
Hold up.
saying
I think
But
3 are
they
going
are.
forward.
no,
Yeah,
2
3
are going
no,
forward.
No, 3
No,
are going
because
forward. Yes, 3 are
the
going
one that he was
forward.
fighting.
So when he's
The one
fighting,
he's fighting
because
is
the one he's
himself.
fighting is inverted.
the Robert
but the
Pattinson-
one that Robert Pattinson lets get away is going forward,
Yes.
along with
Right.
the one that's fighting the inverted
that's
one.
Right.
2.
So there's 2.
There's 3
so-
3
so
going
there's-
forward, 1
so
backward.
at that point,
Robert
there has to
Pattinson
be
is
2
another one.
protagonists in the same timeline.
Yes,
That's what we're saying.
and it's fucking up the time. Right.
Right.
There's
You can't, it's
2.
not fucking it up because you can still do that.
There's not 3. There's 2.
Okay. Sorry. Let me.
But there's
let me-
not 3 in the same timeline. There's 2 in the same timeline. There's one who's in the.
Oh, there's
inverted
2 in the
time-
same timeline. Yes.
Yeah,
That's-
Right.
not 3. Not there's
Well, I
not
was-
3
we-
going forward.
Okay, you understand what I meant. 3 in the same world. Is
But
that
it's
better?
still, yeah, it's 3 of the same.
But
the
that can
same
that can
people.
happen though, long
Right.
as one
Yeah.
technically. Technically, unless I don't know if you'd be able to have
What stops you
3.
from? That's fine. That's
But
semantics.
even still,
bro.
they
I'm
kind of
just
said
talking
it.
about
They
now.
set the precedent that you have to watch yourself get into the turnstile before you get in there.
No,
right? Like,
I don't think
They
you-
never said that.
They
They
never
never
said
said
that.
that.
They just said. They
it
just.
just happened.
They just
no,
said.
no, no.
If,
Remember, it always happens because
Right.
when old dude, when he got into the when he came out of the turnstile, he saw himself walking in. Same thing with Seder. When Seder walked in, one version of you're always.
So
This,
you,
Yeah.
You
that
should never
one
come
scene
out at the
has
same
to
time.
happen.
But even still, the scene that we're talking about, they both came out of
that
the
is
same
weird.
time.
Yeah, that is weird. Okay, now I see what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Because one has to walk.
that's
in-
understandable because one's inverted, one's not.
They both
But you
came out of the
can't-
turnstile.
because you have
at the
one
same-
moving
But you have
backwards and
one
one
mo-
moving forward.
Yes.
So that's
exactly.
always when
So
it happened. That's why
that
they
can
had to
happen.
move.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
But that's why
Like,
they had to move the
basically,
girl
both
when she
ran
got
in,
shot.
Turned, both ran out.
Yes.
If it only been one going through the thing, you would see the. Damn, that's tricky. You should see 2.
Right, you should
Ooh.
see the other person going in and out, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like there should be.
You shouldn't be able to enter.
You
the
do
turnstile
see them
at the
both
same
go
time.
in and out.
Right, but
'Cause he
you-
runs
it would have to
in.
be, it would have to
Right,
be
but the
one
difference is
turn
that is the
out,
one unique-
turn.
That
out.
is the one unique scene where there are 2
Unless you're
people.
assuming that the turnstiles
Hold on.
are not pocket dimensions.
No.
I'm assuming they're probably pocket dimensions. That's why you
That's
can
the
walk
only
into the same
scene in the whole
turnstile
movie
twice.
where you see 2 people
You know what I'm saying?
on both sides of the glass who are going the same direction.
Right, but what I'm saying,
So
what
that's
he's
why
saying-
you see
technically they're
both
not
what
happen.
he's
the same
saying is
direction.
what he's-
Robert Pattinson and protagonist are
yes.
going the
Or
same
my bad.
direction.
I don't want to.
So
assume
when
what
you
you're
see
saying, my
both
bad.
come back out, that's because you have 2 people in the forward direction. One is dealing with the one going backwards. One is dealing with
Yeah.
the one going forward.
Yeah.
At no other time during the movie do you see people who are in the same dimension on both sides of the glass witnessing the person coming out of the turnstile. Every other time it's from one person's perspective. So you're not going to see both people because the people who are inverted stay inverted over here. The people that don't stay inverted over here. That's the only time in the movie that both people who are not inverted see the transition happen. So it makes perfect sense that 2 people would come out. Because
Yeah.
one
No, I
person's
agree-
got
I
to go
agree.
backwards, one person's got to go forwards. Every other time we see it from one person's perspective.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, if the other person's inverted, why was he attacking the guy? Like, why was he went in and started fighting himself? Whatever.
Because they'd already been
They had already
fighting.
They had already did the fight.
To the guy who was
That's the point
inverted,
of the
that fight
inversion.
already happened. If you watch that
Yes.
whole fight, it's choreographed, and that's why I thought it was so cool when they showed it the second time, because he's literally getting his ass kicked.
Mhm.
The first time you see it, he's getting his ass kicked the whole first half of the fight. The second half of the fight, he starts kicking his self ass, which doesn't make sense because how all of a sudden do you not know how to
Thank
fight?
you.
And when you watch it back, that's because that's the first interaction that he's had, so he doesn't know how to fight himself. And then you see the second version of him
He should
start to
have the
figure
intel
out how
for
to
that.
fight. He should, but he's still disoriented and stuff. It's like one of those things that just because you know something doesn't mean that
That's fair.
something doesn't happen to cause you not to have it. That's why this movie for me, it wasn't convoluted. It was just so interesting to watch because there was thought put into so much of it because
Not enough.
I mean, I have this one scene that you're having a huge issue with. I thought was one of the most well thought out, best scenes of the entire movie. The way they choreographed it, every bit of it made 100% sense. Every bit of it.
Well, no. Yes,
Except
but no.
This
three
scene right
people.
here.
Except for, well,
No,
no, and
I
also
just-
except for you just don't have to interact with the past. Like they said that you don't have to. Like if you walked in and was like, it hasn't happened yet, you'd be like, okay, let's just leave and
Right,
see what
yeah.
happens. Let's see.
But they
what-
did. But
No,
he
no.
didn't
That's
have
the free will part, though.
Right, but what I'm
you
saying-
have that
right.
ability.
But they could have been like, let's stand here and see what would have happened because who would he? Like, would he just be like?
But the better question is, would it have still would that fight have happened when he knew when he walked in that room and saw the bullets, he knew something had happened, but it
Sure.
hadn't happened yet. Now, if he would have just left the room and be like, "Fuck this, I ain't trying to deal with this,"
No,
because the
he
same
would've
thing
just-
happened.
Right. Yeah. That's
That's the free will part of it.
But
That's what
and
that's what makes it.
so
But that's what makes it
interesting.
interesting.
Nobody's
To
saying
me,
that it
yeah,
wasn't
that-
Again,
that's-
How's that
Sure.
interesting?
I get what. Well, he's saying
because
like,
it makes you think like it's the illusion of free will, right? Like it's a question that everybody has had for
No,
the
that's
time
not
of
an
everything.
illusion of free will question. That's a
No,
you could have easily made a
Free
different decision.
will
Yep.
is something that people talk about for a long. Like I'm not saying the movie said
But the
illusion
thing
of free
is,
will,
fair.
but
could
I'm
he
saying
could
free.
he have made it different?
Yes.
I'm saying that people
But
sit here,
could
but
he?
could he?
Yes.
No,
he said
because
whatever
free,
happened happened.
right?
If he just backed it. Okay.
But that's the fun
if it
part
already
of
happened,
free
fine.
will versus do we
So
really?
maybe there isn't free will.
sure.
Maybe
I
they
get it.
lied.
Hey, Nolan did it. It's fine.
It's me, the wizard in the sky. I did it.
I don't think
Well-
Nolan did it. I think that's just the.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I
was
think
gonna
that's
say,
the whole principle, right?
That
like,
one in that
dude,
case,
does
I think
any
it's just
action?
the free will thing. I don't think there's free will in that movie at all. I think literally what happens. They're like you said. I think it's an illusion. I think they want you to think.
And
They
that's
want
what
you to
he's
think
saying. I
that.
get it. He's saying like, there's so many.
But because what happens,
I
that
get it.
literally
It doesn't
means
feel
it's going
lazy
to happen.
you guys, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. There's certain. I would be more of a thing. I guess the
And
whole
it took him
problem-
20 years.
No,
That's a
we
slap
already
in the
said he
dick.
was doing so much other shit during the time.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, and when you think about when I hear 20 years, I think the nigga was just sitting down.
Yeah,
doing
I
the
mean,
one thing.
No, remember
yeah,
he
no,
done
he
made
probably
hella
had
shit.
an
Right,
idea.
He probably had an idea.
He had a ton
And
of
he's
other.
been fleshing it out this entire time,
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
on shelving it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I do think it's crazy that
It's
like,
a passion project. You can
Right.
tell that he
But
didn't
again,
have.
it's the same thing. Like I'm sure he sat down and said, "This is what's gonna happen," and then somebody like me was probably like, "Hey, that don't make no fucking sense." And he's like, "Hey, you know what the coolest thing about this is? Get the fuck out." Because I know if I was working on
But if you
Nolan's
got
crew,
that power,
or if I was working on Nolan's crew, nigga, I would not last longer than a day. I'd be like, "Hey, how would he get back to Gotham?" And he'd be like, "Who the fuck
No,
let this
no,
nigga
no, no,
back
no,
in?"
no. You
And
would
I'm
have
like,
asked
"Hey,
that
I'm
question.
coming backward from the future, and I still have this question."
You would have asked that question one time. You would have been like, "You want this check, or you want to shut up?"
Oh
and
no,
you would
yeah,
have been
sure,
like,
obviously,
and you'd have been like,
obviously. It was like, hey,
he flew back on the Batmobile that he didn't know he had yet. I get it,
right.
perfect.
He left
Thank
one.
you.
He left one in every country. I'm like, cool, bro. Hey, we in there. The nigga rich. It's
I
fine.
mean, he got billions.
got
Does it really
billions.
matter
He
how
got
he got
billions.
there? He got billions.
He probably got. I
Do
get
you-
it.
do you-
He
do you
probably got to a
need
cell
to
phone.
know
Use
that
a cell
he
phone.
got
Call
on a
somebody.
plane?
It's fine.
Do you
Yeah,
need to know
yes.
he got on a plane?
Yeah, I need it. I need that dub. I need the dub.
I just think it's interesting.
I
that
need
you
the
take,
filler
Maybe he got on a boat.
I
You-
need that.
I don't know.
filler
I
arc.
You
think he got on a
take two
plane. You
concepts.
might think
You
he got
take-
on a boat.
You take the concept of time travel and you take the concept of free will and you combine them into one thing. And I thought it was a very intriguing, interesting movie. While yes, there were some questions and yes, there were some thinkers. I didn't see it as a waste of time. I didn't see it as they didn't do a good job explaining things. I understand going into anything that's got any kind of time traveling element to it, that there's already going to be some sort of convoluted nonsense. They're just,
I think Steins Gate did the best job ever. I don't think there was any question that it did not.
I don't know
answer.
what that is. So I
It's
don't know
fine.
how
No, I'm
to-
saying like if you like time travel stuff, like you should totally watch Steins Gate.
I don't know what is
It's an
it,
anime.
but it's not a movie. That's
What-
the whole no,
What-
but
why
that's
is that-
what because it's we've already discussed that.
Steingate has an OVA and it makes sense.
I don't know what
Yeah, you
OVA
don't know?
is.
You don't know what OVA. No, I didn't know about
yeah,
the OVA.
No doubt. Yeah, it's
Do it
got one.
slap?
It makes it slap.
What does
Ooh,
OVA
yeah,
mean?
Original video animation.
It's what they call movies. Like they could just say
Sometimes,
movie.
sometimes they do like original episodes
Right,
too.
that's fair. OVA like
If it's
some-
not like a
OV,
filler
I
arc.
thought you said B, like buzzed.
yeah, original booty.
And I was
animation.
like,
Let's
so when
go.
that's when you go
Hey.
original video animation. I'm like, they got different
yeah,
words.
OVA.
than we-
Yeah, like I mean,
Okay. Well, I'm just saying going into something like that, I don't know how somebody would go into that thinking they're going to tie it up with a nice little bow in
that's
two
the
and
difference
a half
between you and
hours.
I.
Yeah.
They could have been. I just gave you two exact reasons. They could have been like,
I disagree with
I
what
closed
you're
the loop
saying.
real
I
quick.
don't see how that closes the loop, but
What
I
do you
didn't want
mean?
to start another argument.
"What do you mean?" Oh, you're right. You know what? That's fine.
I
didn't
see
wanna
how it
start
closed
another-
the loop. I think
For
I'm in
him
the, I
saying
think I'm
that
in
if
the opposite
old
where
dude gave
you
him the
want to know
brief,
why I like the
ambiguity of it.
because it makes me be like, it lets me be like,
Sure, and if you're not like, again, I said if
this
while I
could've-
was
this
watching
could've-
the
this
movie,
could've.
I had no problem.
I
with
guess the
movie.
difference I have is the way that you say things. It sounds like an insult.
It is an insult.
It is an
It was
insult, yeah.
garbage. It's a garbage thing that yes.
No, saying how we wanted to watch the movie is
What?
an insult. It's like you're like, well,
Oh.
if you're fine being stupid, then that's fine.
No,
that's not
there's
what
a
I'm saying.
limit.
But sure, but what I'm saying, that's not what I'm saying.
No,
What I'm
that's
saying
how I'm
is,
saying it
what I'm
sounds.
saying is the way that's why I specifically say the way I like things, the way I interpret things, because I don't care how other people watch things. That's up to them. But what I'm saying is, if I say I like this thing, I think this is convoluted because X. You can go, I don't agree. Here's my opinion. And I'd go, oh, okay. Still don't believe it. That's
well,
fine.
you roll your eyes
Yes,
and
I
you're
will
like, okay.
Yeah, there's not some law in which I have to pretend
but-
that what you're saying
No,
makes
no,
sense.
but you're saying there's a gentlemanly thing here where you say this is why I don't like it. And I'm like, cool. Well, this is what I thought while I was watching it. I didn't look at you and be like, okay.
No.
You
did-
look at me and go,
right.
okay.
The difference
like,
is, for me,
okay, stupid, dumb.
Sure.
Let's find
the
that
difference for me is I'll go, I don't think this made any sense. And you're going, no, I'm going to tell you why it makes sense. And you
Yeah.
need to tell me
How
that
did you
what
not
I
see
said
it?
is right. And I'm like, sure. And you're like, that's not
No,
good enough.
I'm-
Where's my dub? And I mean, I get it. You need it. And that's fine. Hey, I respect that. What I'm saying is, great movie. I enjoyed the entire ride. It's the difference I have between Maui and I. For if I'm watching something self-contained, which what this is, you can tell that I'm tempering my what I'm saying because my voice does not normally sound like this. So I watched the movie. It was a great ride from start to finish. The sound, incredible. The visuals, great. You didn't like it. It was buns for you.
yeah,
Sound for me, slapped.
Regal Cinema.
I wish,
dog shit.
yeah, fuck you, Regal, except for the one on Glendale. Stay empty. That's my A1 shit. Watching movies by myself, dope. If I could do everything in a basement, grasping Cheetos like a goblin, that's how I choose to live. And this gave me a taste of that on the big screen. Keep it up. 10 out of 10 experience.
How are they stopping people like just full on fucking in the movie theater? Like I would.
They don't. They
you
don't.
can't.
You don't. You just
You
do
can't.
It.
It'd be
just do
great. I'd be like, "What you gonna do? Stop me,
You
COVID,
know-
bitch?
You just
You
do it.
cle-
Yeah, you can't come up to me.
Yeah,
You gotta wait till I'm done, bro.
I'm almost
gotta
positive
wait.
it's called. They'll wait till you're done, and then they can
And then-
still call the police and get you
okay.
arrested.
And what they
All
go?
right,
How they
cool.
go? What? Did they record me?
Look, that's crazy. You said
Oh no,
I
no,
fucked?
no.
It's
That's-
their word against mine.
Exactly.
Unless they check for it. Unless like pull my pants down and be like, hey, you got shit dripping out of there.
No, just be like,
Look,
That's just me.
That's just
jizz-
me. I'm just dripping.
no, you gotta be like, jizz right now, and you're like, well, I can't. And they're like, you must have fucked
What
then.
the fuck then?
Because if,
Like,
if
nah, I
you
need a
didn't just
blowjob.
fuck, if you didn't just fuck, you should be able to jizz a little bit at least. And you're like, well, I mean, I don't jizz. My balls are dry. I haven't jizzed in 23 years. And they're like, okay,
In
bro,
this
you're just
timeline-
getting to jail.
Again, also. Okay, so yeah.
In this timeline, I'm
in
sterile.
this timeline, right? I ain't got
My dick don't work.
But yeah, like watching that movie again. I mean, I thought the movie itself was great. It's the same thing we watch Inception. We watch any of the Dark Knight Rises is my favorite Dark Knight movie. I know people don't like that. People like the
I like
Dark
that one.
Knight. I enjoyed it more because it felt. Again, we talk about this all the time. I have a fundamental problem with the Joker. The Joker only highlights a huge problem with Batman. Bane does a good job of like when I watched The Dark Knight Rises, I was like, well, this shit kind of doesn't still make any sense, but it makes so much more sense watching it from start to finish because Bane, like, he's like, hey, what are you trying to do? I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face, and it's like, hey, don't do that. Stop me then. Cool. Like, hey, Joker's like, I'm gonna do some comedy shit, and it's up to you. And he's like, well, I can't kill you. And he's like, I'm gonna keep doing shit. Like Bane's
Do you
like,
think the Joker and Christopher Nolan's Batman did that?
well, no, but I'm saying like
That was, I think, the best.
The thing that I
use
think
of the
right.
Joker.
So again, yes, because he was like, I'm gonna keep wilding the fuck out until you stop me. And Batman was like, I can't do it.
That's
So
because
that's my
he's
shit.
the
But
third.
the cool thing
of
about-
the three Jokers.
The cool thing about Bane is Bane always went directly at like Bane, like he did some other like
He
he
is,
was like,
though.
I'm gonna blow some shit up. And you're like, cool, but he's like, but you specifically, you and me have problems. I find you, I punch you, and I'm like, cool, hey, self-contained, I got it. But I enjoy the way he told that story. Great. I don't have a lot of problems with plot holes in that movie because it was easy for me to when I watch it, when a villain's like, hey, I'm gonna cause some trouble, but you specifically, fuck you, get out here, pay me. The payoff at the end of the movie is much better for me because he specifically has problems with that nigga, and he said, we going out on our swords. That's great. Like, when you watch 300, at the end you're like, I mean, they could have just ran away. But that's
Right.
not the point of the movie.
Right, nah,
The
'cause
point of the movie
they
was
said
real
they're
niggas to do real
Spartans,
shit. Right.
Like
Real
we
niggas
take
don't
no
run.
L's. Yeah, we
and
out here.
we either dying or we're going. I'm like, cool.
Right.
I had no problems with that because they said, hey, we're outnumbered. This gold nigga fancifully, trying to, we could just, I mean, they circled us. Woo, it happened. I had no problem with 300. I watched it and I'm like, sure, like fine. There's not a problem.
Does make
with
my
the
dick
first
hard.
300. Yeah, I
But
mean,
those were all built off source material, though. This wasn't really, right?
okay, but the source. Okay, fine. But building something off the source material and then that's
You can still fuck it up.
right. You can still
No,
fuck
you
it up,
can
but
fuck
that's
it up.
other-
I'm just saying it's
Right. If he had made if he had called Dark Knight Rises Chalupa Man versus Sandwich Boy and had the exact same thing happen based off of he could have wrote that same story without Bane. Bane, the character of Bane in the movie is actually closer to the old comics than you
The
know,
only thing I didn't
Batman.
about that
yeah.
Bane was I don't like what like he's Bane because of the prison shit and everything, right? But like
I know
That's
I
not how
needed
Bane
the-
was made.
I needed
it's not about I don't even
You
care
got
about the
regular
Venom
Jack.
shit, but it's
Yeah.
like why is he in prison with all these people
He was a child.
who can just climb out of the prison? So why not just free all the people and just climb out? Why is just one man?
Oh,
in
that's
this- why
that's
the
more of a
two-
monkey. I think that's a monkey, the monkey paradigm. You know, where we talked about
Like there's
where-
two men that
Whoa,
can climb out of
what-
this whole
what?
prison.
like you know the
Bane
the
and
experiment
Batman.
where they took a room full of monkeys and they put a shot collar on one, and when somebody reached for the banana, right, that would be how that prison would work. Like if they just all work together, they could probably get the fuck out. But
they were all pretty fucking gross and emaciated, though.
Well,
I don't know
yeah.
how you could crawl out of that. That's a
but
pretty
right, but
big-
also yeah, Bane was that nigga. He got out. That's it. Hey,
and
that's-
Bane's
that's
like,
the
hey, I'm
point.
gonna stop what I'm doing. I'm gonna ship you to the desert. Like
Mhm.
why?
I lived in
right because that
darkness.
was, again. That's a
love that-
giant fucking problem.
I really
because
like
just
that
kill him.
you're not.
I get it.
You're not.
But
It's
adding
maddening.
anything other
I get
than
it.
Bane quotes.
Yeah,
to
that-
it.
that's maddening. I get it. But yeah, the movie was fine. The movie was
UPS
great,
man.
Did
Did you fuck all wives?
what?
That's not.
South Park.
Oh, I
But-
didn't. My bad. I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
They
Oh,
all-
I guess that's
I want a
fine.
Bane mask so bad.
Yeah,
just
the
'cause they
Bane-
say
they-
right
they-
now.
That-
I legitimately, we could just go buy them.
That and the 300 episode of fucking South
Everybody
Park.
in South Park gets Bane masks, and then they beat up the UPS man because they think the UPS man is fucking their wives. So they go up and they're wearing the Bane mask, and he goes in the Bane voice. He's like, "UPS man." He's like, "Are you fucking all wives?" Just
Not a
fun-
good idea.
fun stuff.
Not
South
that
Park
bad.
is like, it's so good.
You guys have anything else you want to add to 10? We're going kind of long here.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Well,
Let's just wrap it up like we-
this just got heated.
Let's wrap it
Yeah.
up like we always do. We'll start out. Maui, go ahead. Start it out. What you rating it?
I'm gonna give it. Well, this is bad because what did I give? What the fuck did I give? New
Mutants
Mutants
a 5.
You gave
gave
it
it a
no,
five.
no,
No,
You gave it a
he gave
one.
it a-
You gave it a one or
No.
two.
No,
you
I
did.
think I gave it like
I-
a 4 or
It
5.
a 4.
Oh,
You gave
it
it
a four.
negatives. I gave it a
Yeah.
1.
I gave it a -5. You gave it a 6. He gave it a 1. Mal gave it a 4.
I would say I'd give 10 like a.
Imagine you had good sound. Imagine that the
I'd
sound.
probably give it like a 7, 7.5.
How you hate something that you give a 7 point? I don't understand.
Well,
you guys.
I'm trying to be nice.
No, don't be
because-
nice.
Nah,
Be real.
You can't base
Well,
it based off.
You
of the
can't
score
say
for New
this
Mutants.
was garbage.
This is self-contained.
so was New
I-
Mutants.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like this is self-contained.
But I
right?
feel like I
How
was
you
more
can-
forgiving to New Mutants. It could be because you guys hyped it up like, oh my god, oh man, I was just like, whoo, and I was like, damn, like I was
I
expecting
get
like,
you. That's
exception.
Demon Slayer for me, 100%. I get it.
Or what Demon Slayer was fantastic. What are you talking
It
about?
was all right.
It was like, oh, cool. I feel you. Somebody overhyped something, I understand. But-
Exactly.
But I was like, man, like I just wasn't engaged at it whatsoever. So like, if I have to give it an honest rating and not just be like, well, I can give it like it was still a good, like it was shot well, visually it was fantastic. I'm sure the sounds would have been great if Regal Cinemas didn't suck big fucking flappy fucking donkey dicks. But we're never gonna get sponsored by Regal at all ever.
What if we
AMC
do
gang.
get? What if we? I
Nah,
love. I
AMC
do
gang.
love AMC.
Nah, fuck a Regal. AMC, if you out there, I will literally go. I won't burn down Regal. This is not for legal
Another
purposes. It's a
confession.
joke.
No, that's a
But
confession.
AMC has the best,
A-list.
the best movie subscription program on the market. $20 a month, and you can see 3 movies a week. You get discounts on concessions, and you get free upgrades. You telling me that ain't the best in cinema right now?
nobody's telling you. It's great.
That sounds great.
It is. It's the best. AMC.
Hit my DMs.
Actually, there's another theater that does the same thing, but it's like $2 less. I ain't saying their name though.
yeah, no, they don't get no shout out.
They probably
Um,
don't have as many theaters across the nation as AMC.
Nah, I think it's like United Artists.
Did I say what I was? gonna give?
United Artists is worse than fucking Regal.
Not the one on 96. That boy nice.
No, you said
I probably give it a 4.
Interesting.
If it's just like because the reason why I'm saying like from a 7 from a 4 because I personally didn't enjoy it at all. Like a lot of stuff that we're saying like to you guys may not be a big deal, but it's everything to me. But I can still see like the movie was shot well. If they would have just done a better job telling the story, I feel like it could have been, it could have been like maybe like an 8.
If they release a full like a 3.5, 4 hour director's cut, will you watch it again to see if it fixes any of your problems?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I've seen Troy twice.
Troy is
Long as
I'm
shit.
thinking about Alexander. I'm like, Troy's trash, and then I'm like, no, that's Brad Pitt. Alexander was garbage.
Brad Pitt was in Troy.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
Rosario Dawson and Colin Farrell were in
Right.
Alexander, and
Yeah.
that movie is awful.
Never seen it. I'll continue to not see it. Thank you.
It's not even worth your time. Rosario Dawson gets all the way naked in it. If that's a
I might watch it. I might
selling,
watch it.
if that's a selling point
Could
at
be
all.
a selling point. Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm probably gonna get it like a 9 out of 10.
9.
Yeah, I enjoyed the entire movie. I
Wow.
legitimately like when I'm saying that there are lots of things about this movie that I'm like, why the fuck, right? Does not change. Yeah, like does not change the fact that I enjoyed watching the hell out of this movie. I'll watch it again. I'm probably gonna go. I might even go to it. I might even go to AMC to watch it in Dolby to hear it the way it was meant to be heard. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. The ride was great. Yeah, shit didn't make sense when it had to, but I am willing to. But that was after. Like, yeah, there were some times in the theater I was like, what the fuck? And it was just me. So I was like, I mean, what the fuck? But there are times where I did that. But for the most part, I was engrossed. I was engaged. I was like, yeah, this shit might not make sense, but it would be like
It was shot very well.
It's like if Don Toliver went back and redid all Ice JJ Fish's music, I bet that shit would be incredible.
Man, I beg to differ.
Nigga, there's
Something about your girl.
But imagine that in Don Toliver's voice. Like, imagine
I
Cardigan.
don't know, bro.
Imagine Cardigan.
No, JJ. No,
Bro, nah, shut up. In fact, hey, Don Toliver, if you listening right now,
Hit my DMs.
remake.
how do we get
remake
this to
something about you, girl.
We'll clip this out right here, just this, and be
Yeah,
like,
just
Don
as soon as
Toliver,
Don
how do we
Toliver-
get this to you?
Hey, do it. I bet you that shit'll sell a milli.
Ignore
Like,
the
I will
part
pr-
where D-Mark says you look like the angriest lesbian.
You do look like the angriest lesbian, but your voice is incredible. Yeah, if Don Toliver remade all of Ice JJ Fish's shit, slap. It'd be incredible. If he made all of Playboy Cardi shit again, I'd actually listen to Playboy Cardi because I just want to hear it in his voice.
What if he redid Chief Keef stuff?
Chief
Nah,
Keef,
bro.
Chief
Keef a hitter.
Sosa, bro, nah. These bitches love Sosa.
Chief Keef has one song that's okay.
What do you?
Imagine.
Don't tell me.
You
Name
know
one
what?
other
We
Chief
already
Keef song.
discussed.
That's fine. If next episode we gonna go over Chief
Blueface
Keef's
better
top
than
10
Chief Keef.
and why X should like them. But no, in general, yes. I mean, the sound was great. Like I said, I'm probably gonna go watch it again in Dolby so I can hear it how it's supposed to be here and heard, and I can watch for the second time. So, I didn't notice this, whatever kind of shit. So that'll be fun to do. Visually stunning, enjoyed it. Well, I won't say stunning. That's tough. Like, a lot of the set pieces were grandiose. Stunning, I should reserve for something more like, have you ever seen there's a
There was
Sin
so
City
much
was a
practical
good-
stuff though.
You
tell
can't
it
say
wasn't
Sin City was
sets.
stunning when it was only black and white.
Sure, but have you ever seen this movie called Bunraku?
Yes, you can.
Have you ever seen?
Sin City was
it had,
revolutionary.
you ever seen Bunraku?
These
It's
niggas
a,
are smoking dicks. What are you saying?
Bunraku. It's a movie. It's not important.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to make
it's a
something
good
like
movie.
Frank
If
Miller's
you watch-
masterpiece.
When I say masterful, I mean something can be different. It doesn't have to be grandiose to be transcended. It can just be presented well. Fine. So
Yeah.
again, visuals were great. Sound A1. Not from what you heard, but from what I heard, which I can't wait to hear it the way you heard it. Even though it was a very unnatural way of speaking,
Man.
they were going for a Bond style, a new thrill, a new spy thriller. If you look at it from that atmosphere, everybody has to be smooth. I think it was unnatural because
wasn't smooth?
nobody had right. What I'm saying is like no, I don't mean smooth as in like that was well thought out. As in like it literally looked they were reading off a teleprompter and it was like,
Right.
but
Everybody
still
was so
enjoyed the way-
well informed.
and it was too well. It was too much. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed the way they delivered the lines.
Mm.
If you go
Yeah.
back and you say Who the fuck would talk like that? I literally said that. I
Except
was like,
Robert Pattinson. He just seemed.
He killed it.
He
killed it.
murdered the shit.
He killed
Like,
it.
There was so every single line, except for the only thing I didn't enjoy was when he was in the art thing. It was too unnatural because the guy who was working there seemed fucking stupid for the sake of being stupid. Like he was like, "Oh, let me get all this information," and the guy's like, "This doesn't seem weird at all," you know. And that felt contrived, but Robert Pattinson murdered it. That's actually the reason why I'm kind of looking forward to the Batman movie now. Because at first I was like, "Oh, this dude," and I'm like, "Now you got range, this bro killing it."
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
He's
I should have
in some
known.
Very.
And I'm
good
gonna watch.
movies,
As well, I was
though.
gonna try to. As well, I was trying to watch Lighthouse. I got to figure out what I can watch it on. Just because I
Just
want to
be
see.
ready.
It's fine. I just want to see the range. I mean, if people have Kyle said it was his favorite movie of last year. I'm interested to see. It's a different feel. I get it. I understand. If anytime you got Willem Dafoe and some shit, and he doesn't blink for 3 minutes,
Who?
Willem Dafoe.
I thought you said William for a minute. I was gonna be a dickwad. Sorry.
William Dafoe. Whenever you got Willie Daff in a movie and he
Okay.
doesn't blink for 2 minutes, you know the shit gonna be wild.
And Robert Pattinson really
Robert
shit
Pattin-
and pissed all over
Yeah.
himself.
Robert Pattinson did his thing in this movie. I love it. Like the lines were delivered unnaturally. The movie itself, I mean, but the lines.
No,
were,
not even him. I don't think.
or
he
no,
was
no,
the
he's
only
like,
person.
he
sorry.
did not.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, no. What I meant is everybody else seemed like they were reading off a teleprompter. It's like Robert Pattinson. It's like having a group project, and all
Bobby
the other
Pats?
niggas, Robbie Pats, our Pats. It's like that nigga was the only one who did the work. He wrote the script, so he knew how to deliver the lines, and everybody else just came to read it on presentation day.
Right. Yeah.
He killed that shit. Which again, he was a lot of the reason why I was like, this is a good movie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, a lot of shit was convoluted, but it was creative. Every single set piece, like the battle between the red, blue, and the third team, which they did a bad job of distinguishing the third team in that scene. If you think about it, like like, you know, but again, I thought that was great. I thought that was fine. The climax, great. Like, you know, the guy, I think the fucking third dude who broke up the fucking algorithm, that dude should have been in the movie a lot more. I fucked with that guy heavy. In general, I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. 9 out of 10. I can't give it a 10 just because leaving with so many unanswered questions, even if they're my own and nobody else's, it's just my personal rating. I don't give a fuck how you feel. I don't like that I have so many unanswered questions. It'll never not be a bother. The movie was still incredible. 9 out of 10.
So you know how we keep talking about how the movie was basically useless when you think about it a certain way?
Every way, but yeah.
Okay. I feel like this whole episode feels like a waste of time, considering I argued with you about things that I thought were good, but then you give it a 9 out of 10, and I feel like what was the point of arguing if you really enjoyed it?
Oh, because we argue for different reasons. I'm arguing for the sake of hearing your point. You're arguing because you need dubs.
I don't
You
understand.
want them dubbies. Like,
I
I want to hear
understand.
why you think the way you think. You're
I've-
like, I'm gonna beat this nigga down. In this
No, but
debate.
I still told you what I thought, and I still listened
enjoyed
to
it.
what you thought.
It was great. I enjoyed every minute. of it.
I
just-
guess
you ain't win nothing.
I'm gonna have to learn to live my
Jamie,
life differently.
Give him a dub.
Hold on, no.
So he got it.
I'm just saying. I think I'm gonna have to learn to live my life differently because it is stressful to try to convince people.
Not your job to convince.
Thank you. What?
Right? No. Right.
That's
no,
what
no.
he's learning.
I'm
This is
learning
his character
it.
arc.
This is
This is
this
his-
is
With-
this
with-
is a moment.
character
This is a
development.
moment of self-reflection. We talked about that earlier, right?
Yeah,
Like
introspection. yeah.
Introspection is the number one thing that you can do to improve yourself. And the more we've been doing this podcast and everything else, it has dawned on me that I create a lot of my own problems by arguing with people when they're not actually arguing with the same point that I'm arguing. And I don't know how to feel
Yeah,
about
because
that.
not
It's
everyone's
because you try
arguing.
to, like I said, you try to get to yourself to a point where you're still right, and we're like, that doesn't matter.
You're thinking about the next, like,
Right.
you,
Like,
you
how
could be
can I
like,
still get a dub?
Pineapple. Does
Right.
it go on pizza? And you're like, no is the answer. You're like, have you ever tried it? And you're like, I haven't, but I got to figure out why it doesn't. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like you could just go.
I have tried that, and it does not go on pizza.
Interesting. I
Yeah,
think
it's not good.
like
It, well,
it's
does,
not
it does.
tasty.
Hold on. Yes,
but
thank you.
It's
It
fine
does-
if it goes on pizza.
It does go on pizza.
I tried anchovies on pizza. Now that does not go on pizza, but people out there still eat it. I don't get
Pineapple and ham on pizza
it.
is
It slaps. That actually
Hold
slaps.
on, what? You don't like
Pineapple and
ham on
No,
pizza?
no, no.
Pineapple
Pineapple
and ham.
and ham
slaps.
is
Like a
Pineapple
fine.
by
Hawaiian.
itself, gross.
Got it.
people. like well, you have to accent the pineapple. The people are just like, I put pineapple on pizza. Okay, stop.
Yeah,
We're gonna get.
Yeah, no doubt.
I just
Here
don't
we
like
go.
warm fruit or
Yeah,
even
no,
cold
I
fruit.
No, I get what you're saying.
I don't
Yeah,
like the
no.
in the texture. If
'Cause
they don't do it
it's
right,
not
the
right.
texture.
Not even about texture. For
No,
me.
it's a texture thing.
If you
Like,
do,
if
if you
you
do
put
rings of pineapple, it's okay.
Like
If you
I
do
like
the
hot
chunks-
apples.
if you put peach slices on a pizza, I'd probably be fine with that because if it would be soft enough, so it'd be kind of like.
But peach and tomato would be weird. Not peach and cheese, but peach and tomato.
like tomato sauce or tomatoes.
That sounds like a
Sauce,
bang
like
drink.
marinara. Tomato peach.
Hey, if you out there eating peach pizza out there when whatever country hit our DMs.
So I'm not apologizing or anything. I'm just taking a minute to figure things.
Why would you apologize?
I don't know. I feel like I wasted a lot of people's time today by making an episode
Not just a day.
take.
Oh shit!
And I'm also not saying that this will ever change after today because
Oh,
I'm
it
a
won't.
little.
It won't
I'm
at
a
all.
little.
As soon as we hit cut, this nigga go argue with me.
No, I think after we hit cut, I'll just be like, "Dope, that was a fun episode, guys." And, next week, yeah, interesting. If you hadn't given it a 9 out of 10, this motherfucker
He
tried to
said
give it
from
a
the
6.
beginning.
No, he said he loved it, but then he talked so much shit. I thought, I don't get it. I don't have.
Numerous times he
I
said this is the
don't
best
have-
movie I've seen in a long
I
time.
don't-
He
It's a
said
really
I
good
would
movie.
see it
No.
twice.
Remember,
literally said
remember,
He
he
said
don't
that at
need
the
that.
end.
Right.
He made his assumption immediately already. He didn't care about
He
anything
said
else.
No, he said he would watch it again at the end of the episode. He didn't say that earlier on.
Right? No.
Anyway,
He-
hold on.
In fact, he said in the very beginning, "I love this movie, but here's some gripes I
Right.
have with it."
Well, hold on.
and he hold
But
on,
here's
even
the-
better. No.
I don't say I love something and then continue to follow it up with, here's my issues with it.
Have you ever
I
played
can say-
sports?
No. I
Yes.
see. He did it again. I don't do things that way, so it doesn't
No,
make sense.
it's
to
my
me.
time right now. So I'm going to say the things that I want to
Yeah,
say.
I'm just explaining to
because it
him,
is
so you-
my
yeah,
time.
yeah, you got
I
it.
gave you your time.
Did you?
It's his
I
time,
did.
boss.
Did you?
You weighted it and everything.
Okay, my bad.
So I,
mean,
gave you your time.
I can do the
Yeah.
same thing. I mean, that's why makes fun of me for liking Dragon Ball.
Maui.
But Maui does that for me. He's like, "You like Dragon Ball?" I was like, "Yeah," but I can critique it to the point where I know that there's a lot of shit that's trash on it, but I still enjoy watching
I
it.
said-
No,
Whole
but you don't
lot,
say
yeah.
I loved this thing. It was better
I
than
love fucking Dragon Ball,
right.
but I also can do what he did to Tenet to
I
Dragon
know
Ball
Pootie Tang is garbage.
and still
But
at the
you
Right.
same
can't
time
compare it to
enjoy
that
it.
movie.
Right. So what I'm saying is,
God
me
damn it.
personally,
I love Pootie
do
Tang
not
so
use.
much.
Hold on. I'm saying me personally, I do not use the words "I love this thing," and then follow it up with "Here's the issues I have with it." It's I like this a lot, but here's some things. If I say I love something, the next thing out of my mouth isn't like "Here's the issues I had." It was like, "This fucking great." Like, what are we talking about? This was fantastic. So it just feels weird to me that somebody would start out with "I love this." Here's the issue I have with it, and then proceed to, in my mind, talk shit about something that they said they loved. So that was where my first point of contention came in. And that's why I ended up arguing more than I probably should have on things, because it doesn't literally make sense in my brain to say this was almost perfect, but I also have so many issues with it, right? So, again, moment of introspectiveness over. I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. Had a great time watching
Very good.
it.
Yeah.
I loved the sphere of time. I loved the questions that I had. I loved the ambiguity of it. I think it was purposeful and meant for discussions like what we've had today.
Yes.
Thank you, Christopher Nolan.
Those are the exact reasons why I like
No,
it as well.
fuck you, Christopher Nolan. You did a shit job. You know what? I'm mad to
just
pay you
said
all
what I
that
said.
motherfucking money, bitch, because you could have done a better job. You should feel bad. In fact, you should watch. I hope you watch that movie and fucking cry. You fucking piece of shit.
So if you win a game 14-13 or 63-0, which one do you get more money for? You don't. You won the game.
Well, it depends. Is there a bonus structure where
No.
it says like if I
No,
win?
it's not like fights.
Oh, so it's only win
Yeah.
and show.
Win and show.
Did I hit my like
Fair.
performance bonus in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
game?
But that's
right.
different though. That's
But
different.
yeah, so I want to make sure. I want
That's
to
different.
see. I want to know the
hold on.
nuance.
Wait, hold on. That's what I was about to say. That actually doesn't matter because whether you
What was the point of that
The-
question? I don't understand.
right, what I'm saying is a dub's a dub. If the
Mhm.
if he goes, hey, how much money we need to make, and they're like $100 million.
Cool.
I don't know why I said the number that way,
Yeah, nah,
but he made $100 million,
It slapped though.
and he said, all right, cool, I'm gonna do just enough.
Mm.
They're like, oh, well, why don't you go over the top? He's like, nigga, fuck you.
Well,
Have
unless
you
you're in
ever?
college.
What if your what if
football.
you had a professor and they were like, hey, nigga, a 2-page essay. You say, but what if I write 9? He said,
Yeah.
nigga, you gonna get the same score as 2.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, prepare to read this 13-page essay. He's like, nigga, I'm stopping after 2. I'm just letting you know. Like it would behoove you to only write 2.
I do like that word a lot.
It's a good ass word. So I've done this thing. I know we're gonna get to your writing. I get it. But every month now, I'm gonna do my favorite 3 words. My 3 favorite words for this month: anthracite.
Okay.
Catharsis.
Ooh, I like catharsis.
Is behoove.
Catharsis.
Behoove.
Behoove. All right.
Those are September's
How
words
do
of the month.
you pick them?
Do I hear it and I like it?
They gotta sound good, and then they gotta feel good when you say
Well,
it.
Feel
too.
good when I
hold
say
on, hold on.
Yeah,
It's the reason why I don't understand why moist. People are like, ugh, moist. I'm like, what do you mean? Moist feels like it sounds.
man.
Oh, yeah,
When I
right.
say the word
What?
moist,
How-
Great.
What?
moist
Hold on.
sounds like a water droplet.
What situation were you were in the anthracite came up? Like that's more interesting to me.
You ever just been sitting on Wikipedia and you click on a word?
No.
Wow, that's half my day. I'll just be like, literally, I was sitting there and I'll be
What's
like,
this?
what is the ground made of? Dirt. Hey, and then they'll be like, but what's in dirt? And they'll be like, minerals. And I'll click on minerals, and then at the end of the day, I'm trying to figure out why they do circumcision in America still. Like, just that's how they go.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
shout out Brim
unacceptable.
Gang. Brim Gang.
Hey, if you still got the hood on the Maybach, stay away from me. But
Yeah.
I guess so most of the world.
Is
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you have a brim,
If you got the hood
You
on
got
the
the
Maybach,
hood.
yeah. If you got the hood
if
on
you
the Maybach,
brimless,
yeah.
although
No.
no, I was gonna say that like if you had a brim all the way around, it looks almost more like you don't have the hood up. Whereas if you don't have a brim at all, it kind of looks like you still have the hood up.
What,
Yep.
Jamie?
I'll also give it a 9.
Why, nigga?
Say what?
Why? Like, yeah, don't.
I
That's
mean,
it?
I did like him. I enjoyed the movie. I guess I don't necessarily need all the plot hole filling.
I don't need a good story.
There
You
was
already-
no,
no
it's not
plot
that I
hole.
don't need a good story. It's
no, Tim.
basically
Let's be honest.
No,
Jamie, you can't fuck it up for him.
So-
either.
My bad. You right.
for
Y'all
for,
both suck.
for like kind of like him, like he said, like they did enough of the movie. They're like he doesn't accept the time's not linear, so blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, they said that. So because I said that and this thing happened, that's why. I don't need to be like, no, that don't make sense. I mean, why? I'm enjoying my movie, and they told me why. So.
Almost no movie makes sense if you want to delve into it. If
That-
they give you-
exactly. I mean,
if
but
they
that's-
give you a
that's the
reason, if
basis.
they give you a reason, that's the reason, and you
That's
keep
their
rolling.
reason in their movie. I get
Nah,
it.
it's more like
He
if-
made it. It's his, and he said it, so that's the rule.
You right.
That's fine.
But I mean, that's the
His
fact.
movie.
That's the facts for any non-realistic media that you're watching. If they say that's the rule, that's the rule. I mean, think about it. Anime,
No.
100%.
Yeah, but I also
Is that
critique it
way.
the same
Like,
way.
well,
I,
but
I,
put it
like
I
this.
still hold it all to the same standard.
Well, yeah, but like you can establish a rule. So like you can
You can.
establish
You
rules.
can.
Like, you can say,
But
you know,
but
in
the-
Avatar, they're like, hey, there's 4 elements, and then later they're like, hey, nigga, there's 8. You're like, where? Like you're like, you got lava bending. Oh, so it's like you got to be like a fire and earthbender. No, just earth. Like, hold on, how do you keep
Yeah,
the
no,
lava?
and
Lava is earth.
Yeah,
and I
hold-
get-
right. You're like,
Firebending, you can create fire out of nothing.
but fire is fire could be air, but it's not. It could be.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
Fire
I
is
mean,
superheated
I
air.
get it to a
Yeah.
point.
Maybe they
where
haven't figured
if
it
they
out.
give
Hold on,
me
let's bring it
that,
back
if
to
they
Maybe
give
there's
me
somebody
that,
out there that can.
if they give me that in that world, that explanation is okay with me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I get why it wouldn't be with certain people.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Why you looked at me so hard when you said that? You looked at me hard as fuck, like for certain
just-
people,
just
and like
because you
dead in
you-
my eyes, bro. Like,
you legit don't
and I
accept
have
any
sunglasses.
explanation.
What do you? No, it has to make sense. Then you,
My
and you-
bad.
It,
It
just
has to make sense.
Yeah.
Even though it's not his movie in his words.
Exactly.
Yes.
If
I
you're
get it.
telling me a story,
No, they told you this story with one line that causes
And you don't accept
every.
it.
You didn't accept it.
no,
but what's happened
I
is
just wanna ask
happened
more
is the
questions.
is the nice.
You can ask
sweep
those
it under the
questions.
rug.
he ain't
But
gonna
the
answer
answer-
them for me.
He answered them already.
I
You
get
don't
it.
No, he
like the
did
answer.
not.
You
He
don't.
did not
He
answer
goes,
them
it
for
is.
me.
He goes. He
You're saying
answers it.
just because does not work for me. I'm sure you
No,
guys
but it
understand.
doesn't work for you. But that was the
But
answer
that's
that
the
they
answer.
gave.
That
That's
ain't
the
it.
difference.
That
no,
ain't that.
no,
that
that's
don't-
not the answer you want. But that's
You
the
want
answer
the
they
dub.
gave.
You want
I
the
hear
dub. You
No,
want the
I
dub.
don't want the dub. I'm just saying if you're gonna tell me a story and then I'm not even. we're
Why'd
gonna be here for
Mary
another
bring her
hour.
lamb
All
to
right.
school?
You know, I
We're
get
gonna be
it.
here for another
I get
hour.
it. Nope,
How
I
How
get
many
it. I
people
get
sit
it.
there and be like, "Why'd Mary bring her sheep to school?"
Nigga, everybody. Everybody's like, what the fuck's your problem?
Close us out,
bitch?
D-Mark.
Hey, so again, this episode was very long, which is honestly, we're not gonna apologize.
Fuck
for
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, we're not gonna apologize for it. This
Christopher
movie
Nolan
was
makes
great.
long movies. We make long movies.
You know, the coolest part about having a podcast with your friends is that they don't give a fuck if you're talking, even when they say roll us out. So, in general, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't seen Tenet, why the fuck did you listen to this entire episode, you idiot? In fact, actually, thank you for listening. Go watch it. Come back. Listen again. Please send us any feedback you have. You know, tell us. I'm sure I'm gonna get 67 neckbeards in the comments going like, well, actually, and then I'm just gonna fucking pull up on you and punch you myself. But no, in general, I enjoy the discourse. Definitely, hit us up. If you've got anything that you want to say to us, we definitely love it. If you have your opinions on this movie, maybe there's stuff I've missed. That's the greatest part about having a community. For those people out there who communicate on our social media, we love it. Hearing, even if it's not often, hearing from people, hearing feedback. We got some great feedback today that we really appreciate, and that's the stuff we need to grow. We promise we are not done growing. We have the merch stores up, storefrontier.com/WA3C. It's
WA3C.
Yeah,
merch.
WA3C merch. They help us out. Definitely buy some of that stuff. It's a super dope. We don't our merchandise editor is gonna have some new designs, new clothing options up there pretty soon because I went to order stuff and it's very light. Very light.
You have to. No, that's what I was trying to tell people. I made a post today. It's weird how Store Frontier is set up. You have to click on the item, and then there's a drop down menu, not the color menu, a drop down menu.
Oh.
And when you hit the drop down menu,
It's got more stuff on
it
it?
shows you. So, like, if you see the design WA3C, there's actually 5 things that have that design on it, but it only shows the thumbnail for the black shirt. So if you hit the drop down menu, it shows
Wow.
you the tie dye shirt, the tank top, the mask, all of it. It's just really convoluted how Store Frontier
In 2
does it.
seconds, this dude gave me more information than Tenet did the entire time. But yeah, please, definitely support. We definitely appreciate it. I do think it's cool to have people wear my face. If ladies out there, you want to wear my face, hit my DMs. Again, follow us on all our social media. It's Win Awesome Collide. WA3C. No. Win Awesome Collides.
WA3C tweets.
Yeah, WA3C tweets. Win Awesome Collides. WH3N.
No.
Ooh, fuck.
You got
Yeesh.
hit by something, bro.
No, this
WHENAW3.
S1E16 collides. When Awesome Collides, the first E in awesome, as Xavier likes to point out, there's 2 E's, is a 3. We appreciate all your feedback. Please go listen to our old episodes if you if you've enjoyed this one. If you didn't like this one, also listen to the other ones. Tell us which ones you liked. Tell us why you didn't like these. We appreciate all that. Again, this is D-Mark. We got Maui over here doing his damn thing.
Yeah.
We got X over here, just learning more about himself every day as we do this, which is great. We got Jamie over there, who, for the first episode, I actually feel like did his damn thing. I felt very. Not only did he help us on that front, he, the opinions were over there. You can edit that part out. That's more for me. But no, again, thanks for listening. I know this was a long one. I don't know if we're gonna break this up into 2. We might do it 2 and then release it on the same day. Just make it easier on you guys. I don't know. I'm not the guy who does that. Again, thanks for
And if
listening.
the Tenet stuff ever actually happens, you can go all the way back to 2009 where we apparently had a website. It's super weird. I learned
Isn't
that
that kind
today.
of? Wait a minute. That's
In
kind of meta.
2009,
That's
we
kind of
had
meta
a
now.
website.
So, in 2009, so this podcast is the second incarnation of this podcast. That shout out to Cal, shout out to Greenlee, shout out to Weinbrecht out there. Shout out to the other Fetterman, Kevin. Sorry. For the first incarnation of this podcast, and apparently today, when somebody tried to look us up, it brought up our old podcast, which kind of seems very poignant that it's time based. I don't know why it is. It just feel like it is
Location based.
location based. So yeah, shout out to everybody who made this happen. Again, thanks for listening. Have a great day. Roll that outro.